Mouse, you good? Huh. Okay, weird. Hi, give me just a sec. Will I put out notifications? Oh, I can actually do that thing I've been meaning to do. I can do this while I'm doing that. Okay. Hi, and welcome to more Phoenix Wright. It's gonna be a sec before we start, just due to the fact that I'm gonna run an ad before stream and see how that works, just so that I can get rid of the stupid pre-roll ads. But yeah, let's see, what all happened last time? A lot happened last time. Maya got kidnapped. Franziska got shot. Gosh, 3 minutes is a really long time. I shouldn't have run the 3-minute one. Also, that's especially dumb that it runs the, your pre-roll, like, the time of the pre-roll ads being turned off isn't calculated into, like, it doesn't wait until the ad that you're playing is over. But yeah. Lots of stuff happened. I think we're... Oh, yeah, we just got to, Old Bag's testimony.
Anyway, after the ceremony, I went to pace around in the hallway in front of his room.
Miss Oldbag, what was your post on that night? What was your post on that night? I think you mean what post were you on that night, Phoenix?
The lobby. I was supposed to help set up the stage for that trifling show. But I refused to help. I'll have you know it was for that lead-headed samurai show. Hey, even took out a few of the nails.
Yeah, it was a good thing the show didn't go on.
Besides, that manager with the glasses seemed to be working hard at it without me. So I thought I'd take a break and spread my wings a little.
And that's when you went to hang around the victim's door. Also, sorry, give me just a sec. I know that I stalled at the start, but... Okay.
There was something I was interested in finding out, you know?
Something you were interested in? And just what was that?
It's not some little thing I can just go around telling everyone, you know? It's top secret, between me and Juan. Ah, and Edgy Poo, of course.
Mr. Edgeworth, what is this thing she was interested in? I have no idea. I despise gossip, Your Honor. Gossip? But should it prove relevant, we can always have it appended to her testimony later. It looks like we shouldn't force it right now. Did the witness stay in the vicinity of the victim's door the entire time?
Well, since I was on the job, I made sure to keep a good eye out the whole time.
Oh? Then would you tell us the number of people who went in and out of Mr. Kurita's room?
I have no idea. I wasn't born so I could count things for those who didn't pay attention in class. That's why ever since I turned 20, I quit keeping track of how really old I am.
Old I really am. How really old I am. Yes, well that would explain why your age was not included in the report. In any case, the witness then saw someone, correct?
That's when someone showed up. It was a man coming out of poor Juan's room.
Who in the world was that?
I'm not allowed to say. This sort of information has to be carefully guarded from the masses, Sonny. The man that came out of Juan's room, he was...
Yes, he was.
Ah, I'm too scared. I can't say his name out loud.
No. What I wouldn't give to have Francisca's whip right about now.
Well, I guess I can tell you, since he was such a bad boy anyway. He was on guard, mad on guard. He was trying to sneak his way out of Juan's room.
You saw my client. Are you sure about that?
Yesy.
Really?
Annoying brat. When I say I saw someone, I saw that person.
Why do I get a sense of deja vu? Maybe to avoid a repeat of last year, I should delve into this a bit further. Please tell the court about the man's clothes in more detail.
What a troublesome man you are. Really, as if something like that matters.
But it does.
Now what was it? Oh yes, it was that thing.
What thing?
That gaudy thing he's always wearing. That racing jacket.
Ah, he was wearing that at the detention center too.
That thing's meant for nothing but seducing women out of their pantaloons. Huh, men.
Right. So, Mr. Wright, was this testimony just now an important or relevant in any way? It's very important. Of course it was important, Your Honor. Then perhaps you would like to point out what part of that testimony was important. Don't you see it, Edgeworth? Your Honor, I request that what the witness said about the jacket be appended to her testimony. Why did that run me out of breath? I don't quite see where you're going with this, but alright, witness. Witness, please.
Ah, well, I don't like to badmouth anyone without reason, but if I must. He was wearing his flashy racing jacket. Honestly, it's all just for show.
She may not remember things or be mistaken here and there, but I don't think she's lying. That's bad for us. Really bad. But that's how the human mind is, and also has the tendency to jump off topic. She's strayed onto a few interesting side topics this time too, hasn't she? But that's what makes her a sweet old lady, right? It's because you're not the one who has to question her. He's wearing his flashy racing jacket. Found in his costumes pants. Miss Oldbag.
What? Don't say my name for no reason.
Do you know what this is?
Ah! It's button number 2 on the Jammin' Ninja's costume.
Now I know she's an obsessed fan. She identified it in a single glance.
Give it here, give it here. If you don't give it to me, I'll punish you with this.
Wow, she really is a die-hard fan to want a button covered in blood. This button was discovered on Mr. Ungard's body during a full body search.
See? This button proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that it was that rascal Ungard.
It was caught up in the pleats of his nickel samurai hakama pants.
See? See? And on guard is the nickel samurai.
Witness. Now, it may just be me, and I do have an active imagination. But just now, didn't you say that the defendant, Matt on guard, was wearing his usual racing jacket?
Ah, I'm so sorry. Sorry that you judge people based on what they wear. If I wore the trendiest dress, then maybe you'd think I was gorgeous, ridiculous looking outfit. This outfit is hideous, right? I got a tape recorder stuck to my chest. It's heavy. Switched to CDs ages ago. Keep the dream alive for the kids out there. Look in the mirror. Your clothes are about as is it as interesting as a documentary on curling. Now hold your tongue still there for 1 second. So what you saw in actuality was not Mr. On Guard the man, but Mr. On Guard the nickel samurai. Oh, when you think about it, they're really one and the same anyway.
Miss Oldbag, this is a very important point we're talking about.
Edgy Poo, do you think so too?
Well, it might be something worth considering. Just say it's important and agree with me for a change. Witness, think carefully and try to remember as much as you can before you testify.
Alright, if you insist.
I should be the one sighing, not you.
On guard, on guard. Yes, now I remember. Nickel Samurai, that's right, it was the Nickel Samurai I saw. Yes, it would have been convenient for him to wear his costume during the murder. He had to go to the post-ceremony stage show after the crime, you know? So he must have worn the Nickel Samurai costume when he was stabbing poor Juan.
I knew it. I knew you'd say that he was inside that costume.
What? Did you think there could have been something else inside, or someone else inside that costume? Don't be a bad little boy thinking such rude things.
But the possibility does exist.
Ah, youngins today. I told you there's no way it was anyone else.
How do you know that?
Because I said so, and what I say is the truth.
She's just as delightful a witness as she was a year ago. Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness.
On guard, on guard. Yes, now I remember.
Will you please get on with your testimony?
Ha! Watch your language, young man. What sort of tone is that to take with an elder? My youthfulness isn't what it used to be, so you should forgive me for everything. If you keep on barking at me like that, I'll start singing at the top of my lungs.
What?
Striking figure by the sea, standing all alone is he. He's the Nickel Samurai.
She's actually singing. Somebody help my poor ears. Mr. Edgeworth, can you please do something about this racket? Witness, I'll give you a piece of gum later if you be good and just stick to the facts. Wow, I don't know if it's just me, but this case feels like it's this case feels like it's got a lot of very unhinged lines in it. Witness, I'll give you a piece of gum later if you'll be good and stick to just the facts.
Okay, you promise, right?
Right, I'll be sending the bill for the chewing gum to your office at a later date. Remind me to send you a thank you note later too, Edgeworth, old chum.
Nickel Samurai, that's right, it was the Nickel Samurai I saw.
Be a little more careful with your testimony, please. Not too long ago, you said he was wearing his racing jacket, and now he's not?
Not too long ago. Let me ask you this. Where were you, when were you itty bitty? What was your grand dream?
Or when you were itty bitty, what was your grand dream? Huh?
What do you want to be when you grow up, whippersnapper?
My dream, huh? Well, I, wanted to be Judge Wagner, hero of the public's court. So what?
See? Look at where you are now. You're not Judge Wagner, are you? Are you?
Well...
What I said earlier. Who puts any weight into things like that? And now is everything. I can't be held responsible for the past.
Since when did court become theatrics over testimonies?
All that matters is that man inside the costume. Isn't that enough? Yes, it would have been convenient for him to wear his costume during the murder.
And why would that be?
That way, no one could see his face, of course.
But there's still no advantage for him that I can see. In fact, you'd think the costume would make him stand out all the more.
You're such an annoying child, you know that? You disagree with everything I say.
Isn't that what you're always doing to me?
I got it. Maybe it was more troublesome for him to change it in and out of his costume. You had to go to that post-ceremony stage show right after the crime, you know.
Wow, I flubbed that line. Was there anyone else scheduled to appear at the post-ceremony show?
Well, all the contestants were supposed to go on stage in a friendly gesture thing.
And that included the Jammin' Ninja.
Of course it included him. That's why when Ungard came out of Dear Juan's room, I didn't give it a second thought.
I see.
Well, anyway. So he must have worn the Nickel Samurai costume when he was stabbing poor Juan.
Oh, wait, the Nickel Samurai costume has gloves, doesn't it? Yep, it's got gloves. He couldn't have done it while he was stabbing Juan because, the knife has fingerprints on it. What would I even present to that? This? I'm gonna press this first. So, let me ask you one last time. The person you saw, it really was the Nickel Samurai.
As showy as ever. Haven't I been saying that from the very beginning?
Can I throw in the towel yet?
You don't need to think too hard on this one.
Huh?
There's a contradiction in her testimony, and it's sitting in plain sight. The question is what that contradiction means for us.
Well, I have to figure out what you're talking about first, but okay. So yeah, I think it's this because it shows that he has gloves on. Really? Your Honor, that statement contradicts this evidence. It does, though. It does? I don't see anything contradictory. Huh? Really? Objection denied. Try to think before you make accusations, Mr. Wright. Whoops, that didn't go so well. Or am I supposed to throw the knife at it because the knife has fingerprints and she's saying he wore the costume? That's so dumb. Both of those pieces of evidence should have worked. Please take a look at this.
Yeah, so, it's a knife. Big deal. If you're trying to scare me with that, I'll have you know it won't work.
Oh no, that's not my intention at all. It's the knife that was used in the murder, correct? Your Honor, do you know why this piece of evidence is important to this case? You don't even have to ask. It's because the defendant's fingerprints are on it. Is that what you're driving at? That's exactly what I'm driving at. What are we driving at? And whose car are we driving? If Mr. Ungard was really in the Nickel Samurai costume at the time of the murder, then it's impossible for his fingerprints to have been left on this knife. It totally should have been presenting the picture of the Nickel Samurai, because that's introducing the information that that the samurai costume has gloves into the mix. Actually, he would have wiped all previous fingerprints on this knife right off. Oh, that's right. The Nickel Samurai wears gloves, doesn't he? He probably took his gloves off before he began the stabbing. And why would he do something like that? To leave his prints on the murder weapon? There's no way he would do something like that. Hey, Dash. However, there's one possibility. Then let's hear your possibility. It's very simple. The defendant went to the victim's room while in costume as the Nickel Samurai. I'm doing pretty good. At that time, the defendant held no intent to murder. He was probably just going to relax and talk with the victim about the stage show. Which is why he took his gloves off. But the murder still did take place. It's well known that there was bad blood between the defendant and the victim. Yes, I've heard that before. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say about Mr. Edgeworth's theory? So let me get this straight. Edgeworth's theory goes like this. It was at the start of stream. And then, I think more than anything, I just need to start doing vocal warm-ups. Because, once I got, like, maybe an hour into stream or so, I kind of hit my stride. Yeah, thank you for the hydrate, Dash. So let me get this straight. Edgeworth's theory goes like this. When the defendant went to the victim's room, he had no intention of killing him. Now, up to this point, are there any problems with this theory? There is a contradiction. This theory contradicts something in an earlier testimony. It does not contradict an earlier testimony, it contradicts a piece of evidence. Because why would he bring the knife from his own room if he had no intent of killing him? What are you babbling about? Now, for argument's sake, let's suppose Mr. Ungard was the killer. If that's the case, I think it's impossible for the killer to have gone to the victim's room without intent. Okay, cool. This knife, this was used by Mr. Ungard at dinner. Yes, we did establish that. Which means that if my client was, in fact, the killer, then he brought this knife with him when he went to visit Mr. Kurita. I suppose. However, you just said it yourself. At the time, the defendant held no intent to murder. If that were true, then why would he bring a knife? He wouldn't, would he? Which means, Mr. Edgeworth, your theory was flawed from supposition 1. Supposition? Wow. Phoenix cracking out his, dictionary. And one more thing. If the murderer was wearing the costume at the time of the murder, then there should be glove marks left on the knife. Which means the defendant's fingerprints shouldn't be all over it like bees on a hive. And that brings me to my final point. This knife was planted by the real killer to hide their identity and mislead us. Order! Order, I say! Order in the court. Is this knife really planted by the killer? Why would the murderer do such a thing? To frame Matt Ungard? It's to frame my client, Mr. Ungard, of course. To frame? Aren't you forcing the interpretation just a little too hard on this one? But we just established that the witness saw the Nickel Samurai in costume. And if that were true, then there shouldn't be a single fingerprint on this knife. Witness?
Looks like I've made your life a tiny bit more difficult, huh, Edgy Poo?
Witness, did you or did you not really see the Nickel Samurai?
Well, I guess at first I might have forgotten, but...
Are you saying you mixed up Mr. Ungard with the Nickel Samurai, his character on TV?
But I mean, I can't really do anything but that now. Or about that now. Look, I was waiting around in front of their doors because, well, I wasn't waiting around for the Nickel Samurai, that's for sure.
She wasn't waiting for the Nickel Samurai. Alright then. Who were you waiting around for then?
That's top secret to anyone outside of security.
I have a feeling you were waiting for Mr. One Kurita. Am I correct, witness?
What you think? You're a sad amateur with terrible case of nearsightedness.
Amateur? Me? That's not your voice. Wow, Judge, that was a really good Edgeworth impression. What kind of amateur? What am I an amateur of? So Oldbag was waiting around in front of the victim's room. But it doesn't sound like she was waiting to catch a glimpse of Mr. Kurita.
Maybe, Phoenix, maybe the old bag was waiting around for that person.
If it's who I think Mia's hinting at, it's certainly possible. Miss Oldbag, you were waiting for this person to come out of the victim's room, weren't you? It's, Adrian Andrews. Who is this person? This is Adrian Andrews, Mr. Ungard's manager. But why would the defendant's manager be in the victim's room? It seems that this is the latest rumor in circulation, Your Honor. Oh, this is... Well, this is... Ah, I see. Judge seems to be really into the article, if it can be called such a thing. And this manager with the initials AA, are you saying it's... Adrian Andrews, without a doubt. The witness thought so as well.
Looks like you found me out. Well, that's fine. I can throw away this whole sworn to confidentiality stuff.
Witness? The world are you?
Watch out, Phoenix. I've got a bad feeling about this. A very bad feeling.
Mia's voice isn't working very well. Give it a bit of time, I'm sure it'll clear up, though.
I've got some information. Very secret information from a certain source. So that's why I was doing my own little investigation. In secret, of course.
But what for?
Oh, just for myself. Personal reasons and all that.
Well, Mr. Edgeworth, how will you proceed from here? I really don't want to do this. However, I cannot simply let this point slide. I see. Very well then, witness. Please testify about the secret information.
Get ready. This is gonna take the wind out of you youngins.
Sure, we're all capable of handling this. Really, it's not like we're 10 years old.
That on guard is one evil, evil man. He thought he could ruin poor Juan by causing a huge scandal. So to do that, he sent his own manager to get in close with Juan. I cannot condone such dirty tricks, so I took action. Oh, and this is top secret. You got that? Nobody else but you and me know yet, okay?
Defendant sent his manager. Distasteful topic for this court.
What? Nobody's above gossip. And isn't there a saying, the truth is never pleasant?
I heard that one before. Mr. Edgeworth, what about this Adrian Andrews person? We've looked into this matter, and found that the truth this article proposes is, in fact, baseless gossip. But should this be true, then this proves that the defendant did bear ill will towards the victim. So this means I have to smash this rumor once and for all. Now then, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness.
Be careful. The old bag seems rather excited right about now.
That's right. Ungard is nothing but your average foul-blooded youth.
Well, as the old saying goes, you gotta burn old bags with fire. I'm gonna fire up the afterburners and hit the highway to the danger zone. Wow, that... that reference flashbanged me, Jesus.
That Ungard is one evil, evil man.
You can't say something like that without proof. That's just slander.
But it's true. That woman was getting intimate with poor Juan. Look, it says so right here, doesn't it? Manager to the stars, Miss A.A.
The name of the magazine this came from is Gossip Land.
What? Are you saying that gossip is all just a pack of lies? What do you know? I suppose next you'll swear to me that news is 100% accurate. Honestly, Sonny, you can't discriminate between the news and gossip.
Yes, discrimination is bad, Mr. Wright. Discriminate? When did I do anything like that?
Anyway, Ungard will never get me to say touche. He thought he could ruin poor Juan by causing a huge scandal.
A scandal? What do you mean by that?
You're a dim-witted one, aren't you? I can't believe you don't know what a scandal is. Honestly, what are they teaching kids in middle school these days?
No, I wasn't asking what the word scandal means. Even I know that much. Also, give me a sec.
Well, that Ungard thought he could own a monopoly on popularity. So to do that, he sent his own manager to get in close with Juan.
You don't have any proof that Mr. Ungard did any such thing.
You must be suffering from shock. The shock of hearing the truth. And now, since you're in so much shock, you can't do anything right.
You're right, I can't do anything, but boy do I wish I could do something about you.
Alright then, Sonny, show me what you got. Can you show me proof that Ungard didn't bear any ill will toward Juan?
No? I don't have anything to offer.
See? Just as I thought. You were lecturing me about saying things without proof. You've just given me a free pass to say whatever I want, whenever I want, silly boy.
In my big mouth.
That's the way for the cookie crumbles. For you, anyway. I cannot condone such dirty tricks, so I took action.
So, what do you mean by I took action?
Like I already told you, I was lying in wait close to the crime scene. Once that slimy woman came out of Juan's room, I was going to capture her and teach her a good lesson. Something you youngins need.
Going to teach her a good lesson.
I'm just gonna make her eat the damaging beams of my ray gun. Like this.
No, stop.
Well, it was too bad that woman didn't come through the door that night. Oh, and this is top secret, you got that? Nobody else but you and me know yet, okay?
Wait.
What? I'm a busy woman. Tea time with the kids is over.
Secret information that no one else knows yet. If that's true, how do you know this secret information?
Huh? Well, that's because I'm a pro. Yes, that's it. It's a secret. Even if you drilled a hole into my brain, you'll never find out.
How in the world did that old bat get such a secret piece of information? So no one else is supposed to know this secret information, correct? If that's true, then why do you know it, Miss Oldbag?
What? Why are you looking at me like that? Stop that!
Witness? I hate to say it, but this is how you came to acquire your secret info, isn't it? The investigative photographer, Lotta Hart. Oh yes, I remember that mischievous girl. She reported that she had lost a certain note she had written to herself. Reported such a thing? On that piece of paper, she had written down some of her impressions about the relationship between the victim and Miss Andrews.
What? Outrageous ideas, you say?
Oh no, I said impressions.
Then, and everything written on this piece of paper is completely meaningless.
Ah, that's it. That's the note.
Ah! No, you see, this is something completely different. This is my top secret list of groceries to buy.
Then are you the one who took Miss Hart's note?
I'm a huge fan of Juan's, that's why. That infamous puffy-haired whippersnapper. She's working with that evil on guard. She said so herself. On guard, I'm his sidekick. She was so happy, smiling like a silly duck. I was only checking what she had written. Edgy Poo, you believe me, don't you? I was only trying to help out like the little angel I am. It's only a little piece of paper. I've never taken anything else before.
You really should come with a supply of cheese to match your vintage wine. That's a good quote. Well, it was only a piece of paper. I suppose we can overlook this just this once. Looks like she's really sorry. I forgive her? No. If I let up on her now, she'll get away. I have to find some way to inflict a deafening blow to the prosecution. Witness. You said that the only thing you stole was that note. Is this correct?
Stole? Why don't you listen more carefully, you annoying brat? I saved this piece of paper from the terrible lonely trash can, that's all.
You're lying, damn it, and I can prove it.
Are you putting my credibility under scrutiny again?
Miss Oldbag. I don't believe that the note is the only thing you stole that night. Am I literally just presenting the camera again? Miss Oldbag. That note was with a camera inside its case, wasn't it? A camera? Yesterday, Lotta Hart was raising a huge stink over her camera. She kept saying something like, my sweetie's $600 or $1,600 camera disappeared on me. Why? Witness?
What is it, Gramps?
If you have the note, then it's only logical that you have the camera too.
Ugh. Looks like you found me out again, Sonny. Is this the camera you're looking for?
That's...
What? Even I thought to look like, even though I look like this, I'm still a person, you know? I still eat meals like you and fall in love and borrow things from people.
I think your definition of borrow is a little off.
I saw that woman's business card in it, and that's when I noticed it said, Slimebag Celebrity Photographer Extraordinaire. Well, when I saw that, I had to know what sort of pictures she'd taken. I'm a professional security guard. It's my business to know these things.
Bailiff, check this camera's photos. Hurry. We must examine them at once.
Scrolling through like 3,000 photos.
Well, Mr. Edgeworth, what do we have?
There's only one photo that seems to be relevant to this case.
Please present it to the court. This is the Nickel Samurai.
See? I told you. That's the guy that I saw.
This proves that the witness was not lying earlier about this matter. What does this all mean, Mr. Edgeworth?
This photo by itself does not prove the person in it is the defendant. However, in his own confession, Mr. Ungard clearly stated that at the time of the murder, he was still in his Nickel Samurai costume.
If that is the case, then this Nickel Samurai is
the defendant.
How did it come to this? I think this brings us to the end. We've examined every piece of evidence thoroughly. Final comments, Mr. Wright? The court will consider them before we close. You agree that this photo is decisive evidence against your client?
If this photo really is decisive, then we're done for. But if I raise an objection here and blow it, then I would put Maya's life in jeopardy. I can't make mistakes here. There's only one road out of this mess. This photo that Lotta Hart took, there's something strange with it. There's something strange with this photo. I knew this was coming, right?
Thoughts, Mr. Edgeworth?
I think we can all agree there's nothing strange with this photo. There's no way for the defense to debunk this photo, even with the bunker buster.
Debunk with a bunker buster? Is that what you're planning to do, Mr. Wright?
Anyway, please look at the photo one more time.
Really believe you can honestly find something wrong with this photo? And you should only need one chance, correct?
Well, to find something wrong with this photo, can't let this chance go by. Where the heck did she take this photo from, anyway? It's all out of focus. Why can't she take a good shot, especially when it counts?
Now then, let's hear your objection. What about this photo is strange?
I'd like to direct the court's attention to this one area right here.
What are you pointing to? His ankles?
If you could see this person's ankles, that would be one thing. However, you can't.
And? What does that mean?
The costumed person in this photo could not have been Mr. Ungard.
What is the meaning of this?
I wonder if you would care to elaborate, with actual facts, that is. Let's take a look at the Nickel Samurai's poster. Please pay particular attention to the area around the bottom of the hakama.
His socks. You can see his socks.
Exactly. However, in this photo, the Nickel Samurai is clearly holding his hakama up just to walk. There's only one explanation for this. The person inside this costume is clearly much shorter than the defendant.
Alright. Think I've turned things around for myself this time.
That's curious.
Huh? What is?
Edgeworth's unusually calm today.
That's true.
He's just letting the trial run itself, as if he's only along for the ride.
Along for the ride? What do you mean by that?
I can only guess that perhaps he doesn't feel under attack at all.
Doesn't feel under attack? Then I haven't damaged his case at all? Mr. Edgeworth, where does this leave us? If the person in this photo is not Matt on guard, then everything the prosecution has tried to prove has become meaningless.
I figured it would come to this.
What?
Right. I have something I want to ask you. I think you've proven that the person inside this costume is not Matt on guard. In that case, who is this a photo of?
Who is the person wearing the Nickel Samurai costume?
Don't stress out over this, Phoenix. It's very simple. What you should be focused on is Edgeworth's attitude, don't you think?
Yeah, why is he so calm? Mr. Wright, let's hear your thoughts. Who is the person in this photograph? Adrian Andrews. Adrian Andrews? If you want to know who that Nickel Samurai is, it was none other than this woman.
And why would you say it must be Miss Andrews? What in the world points you to her?
For starters, she's short. And she can freely move in and out of Mr. On Guard's room. Finally, she had dinner with Mr. On Guard that night. How does that all add up? It means that it makes it very easy for her to get a certain item. A certain knife with Mr. On Guard's fingerprints all over it. Knife that was used as a murder weapon.
Why don't you just say what it is you want, Wright?
I have to do this now. This is my last chance to turn things around. Safety save. The defense moves to indict Miss Adrian Andrews in the murder of Juan Carita. It was Miss Andrews who tried to frame the defendant for the crime. Order, order, order! It looks like this trial is had a most unexpected development. Mr. Edgeworth?
Yes, Your Honor.
This court is issuing a subpoena for Miss Adrian Andrews. The verdict cannot be passed without first hearing your testimony. Alright, this is it.
This is kind of bad for us.
Huh? What do you mean?
If Adrian Andrews is summoned to court as a witness, it means that the trial will go on for another day.
One more day? Ah! If I don't get a verdict today, then Maya... Oh then, we shall set Miss Andrews' testimony for tomorrow. What am I supposed to do? The judge is about to adjourn the court. Now then... Please, Your Honor, continue the trial. You must pass a verdict today. I can't do that. We cannot hear Miss Andrews' testimony if she's not.
I abhor wasting such valuable time.
Edgeworth?
Your Honor, I request that you please continue with today's trial.
But cannot continue due to this unexpected development.
Unexpected development? I think you underestimate me, Your Honor.
And what do you mean by that?
That Mr. Phoenix Wright would slave his way to subpoenaing Miss Adrian Andrews is all. Happening according to plan, even if Wright was a bit slow to catch on.
What? What's the meaning of your statement, Mr. Edgeworth?
Miss Adrian Andrews is currently waiting in the prosecution's lobby. She is the next witness.
Everything
Everything was planned out in advance by that man? Somehow, I knew there was no way Edgeworth would overlook Miss Andrews. Looks like this battle is far from over.
Exactly. Very well. We'll call the next witness. However, before we proceed, we shall take a 10-minute recess. Please prepare your witness in that time, Mr. Edgeworth. The court will now take a 10-minute recess.
Yeah, it's definitely a good thing I didn't try to go into the, to be continued. Because, geez, that would have kept me up another hour. Dude, I can't believe that Adrian. No way. Not cool and collected Adrian Andrews. She is your manager. It would have been very easy for her to pull this off. The only person who had easy access to the knife you used at dinner was, well, her. So after the ceremony during the break, huh? Sleeping like a log the entire time. See, she could have also easily planted that blood-covered button in your hakama. She's the one that came to wake me up. Then, dude, you're saying it really was her? Yes, she's the real killer. She was the one who murdered Juan Carita. But why? I thought she was buds with Juan. She has her own agenda. Her own agenda? What are you talking about? I'm sure you'll see by the time this trial's over. It'll be alright. I'll get you acquitted by the end of today. Give me a verdict that's refreshing like a spring breeze. Okay, Mr. Lawyer Dude? Phoenix, you think her motive is related to Celeste Impax's missing suicide note, right? Yes. Miss Andrews depended on Miss Impax as her strength and reason to live. That's, Mia, Phoenix's dead boss. She's being channeled by Pearl, the, girl that was with us earlier. That wasn't Maya. But then Miss Impax suddenly killed herself. It sounds like she left a suicide note, and the person thought to have hidden it is Juan Carita, the victim of this murder. And that's why I think that Miss Andrews got close to Mr. Carita. All to get the suicide note back. That sounds plausible. But one thing bothers me. What? Who was it that first told us about their relationship? Because her clothes are very small. Better stated, Miss Andrews' dependency issues with regards to Miss Impax? It was Edgeworth. Looks like he's still the one in command of this ship. Don't let your guard down yet.
Court will now reconvene. Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, if you please.
The prosecution calls the witness subpoenaed by this court. Miss Adrian Andrews, the person who discovered the crime in Mr. Juan Carita's room. What is your occupation? I'm the manager of the defendant in this case, Mr. Matt Ungard.
I see. Now then.
Before we begin, Your Honor, I have one request.
Yes, sure. What is it?
I'm sure everyone in this room is wondering the same thing, and would love to find out more about my relationship with the victim. After all, it was the topic of a certain weekly magazine recently.
No, I have no idea what you mean. I've never even heard of Gossipland.
If the judge was ever a prosecution witness, he'd do all my work for me. Anyway, I was wondering if you could please tell us about your relation to the victim. Yes, I was seeing Mr. Carita. I was also aware of the rivalry that existed between Matt and Juan. But this was a private matter between Juan and myself.
It was like a fry and bait matter. Is that bait and fry? Reminds me of fishing.
But I didn't kill him.
No one is accusing you of that.
I think there's someone who would beg to differ.
We all understand your relationship with the victim now, Miss Andrews. Alright. Very well then, witness. Please testify to the court about what happened when you discovered the murder that had taken place.
It was time for the show to start, so I went to get Matt from his room. After that, I went to Juan's room. And there was his dead body. I was in shock. What I saw was naturally the exact same scene as in the crime scene photo. I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice.
And then didn't take a sip of it? Poured herself a glass of juice?
Yes, sadly I didn't remember not to touch things at the scene of a crime. And I disturbed the crime scene by moving this one thing.
And that is when the fingerprint... Jeez. And that is when the fingerprints on the wine glass were made, Your Honor. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness.
Phoenix. She's one cool and collected customer, and she has the brains to match.
Yes, I know.
In order to catch a person like her, you have to avoid head-on confrontations. You should disrupt her pacing.
Disrupt her pacing?
She's the type of woman who's easily thrown off by things inconsistent with her thinking. So you have to attack when she least expects it. The instant you let up on your offense is the instant this trial is over, understood? It was time for the show to start, so I went to go get Matt from his room.
I hope these voices aren't blending together. I don't remember what I was doing for Adrian's voice before, but... And what was Mr. On Guard doing at the time?
He was taking a nap. He was worn out from his many performances as the Nickel Samurai during the ceremony.
Mr. On Guard did say he was taking a nap. Then I guess you could say it could not have been taken out of his room, yes?
Excuse me? What are you?
Right, I thought years of school would have taught you how to construct a sentence. If you can't make a sensible sentence with a subject, then I'll make one for you. Watch. Did you, Miss Andrews, remove Mr. Unguard's knife from his room?
No. Subject, verb,
wow. Damn, Edgeworth, that was a really good impression of Miss Andrews. Subject, verb, object, right? Did you skip basic grammar? The witness may continue. To be fair, though, that whole three things making up a sentence, because it's, you know, English, there are exceptions, because there's exceptions to every rule in English. There are no set-in-stone rules when speaking English.
After that, I went to Juan's room. And there was,
whoops. And why did you do that?
As a friendly gesture. Juan was to make an appearance with the other heroes.
The show was supposed to be a show of friendship, huh? Is that the only reason?
I beg your pardon. What are you implying?
You had a certain goal in mind when you started to get close to him, correct? So perhaps you had a more personal matter to discuss with the victim?
I'm sorry, but I didn't have any such intentions in mind at that time.
Can't get her to talk without a strong piece of evidence, I guess. May we continue now?
Witness, what did you see when you got to his room?
And there was his dead body. I was in shock.
You were in shock.
What, was I not supposed to be?
Miss Andrews is a very calculating person. And despite how close they were, I doubt she had romantic feelings for Mr. Kurita. Anyone randomly stumbling upon a dead body would be in shock. And you can't seriously expect that a young beauty like her would not be shocked. Somehow, I don't think beauty has anything to do with being shocked or not. I see.
What I saw, naturally, was the exact same scene as the crime scene photo.
This is the photo you're referring to, correct?
Yes, the one with the knife lodged in his chest.
And the guitar case was like this too.
Yes, it was open and empty, of course.
And then, what did you do next, Witness?
I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice.
Juice?
Yes, there was a bottle of tomato juice on the table, so I helped myself.
You didn't drink any of it, did you?
Huh?
There were no lip marks left on the wine glass to suggest that anyone drank from it.
I wasn't feeling terribly great, so I set the glass down without drinking it.
Miss Andrews, I'd like to confirm with you one more time. When you discovered the dead body of one Kurita, you were in great shock. And that's when you poured yourself the glass of juice, correct?
And what of it? My mind really was a complete blank at the time.
Your mind was a complete blank. I didn't think that was possible for you.
Aren't you rude today? I was so dazed that I made one careless mistake. That one thing.
What one thing?
Never mind. It's no big deal.
What was she starting to say just now? Miss Andrews, I'm convinced that, as you said, you made a mistake at the scene of the crime. What I really want to know is what this mistake was. Actually, so would I.
I'm sorry. It's kind of embarrassing. When I set the glass down on the dresser, I accidentally knocked the flower vase over.
Flower vase? Are you talking about the one on the floor in the crime photo? This mess of glass shards?
It was originally on top of the dresser. But when I bumped into it with my elbow, it fell onto the guitar case.
Why did you withhold such an important piece of information?
I'm sorry. I thought that since the crime scene was already in disarray, that people would simply assume the vase was just another part of the mess.
Looks like yet another fact has come to light here. Please add this and anything else you have to reveal to your testimony.
I'm sorry, but I have nothing more to add. I didn't touch anything else. I was the one who knocked the flower vase over where it fell onto the guitar case.
That's incorrect, because the guitar case was open in the picture, but it's only wet on top. You testified that you knocked the flower vase over. Is this correct?
Yes.
And are you sure it fell onto the guitar case?
Is there some problem with what I said?
It's not some problem, it's a major problem. It's true that the top of the guitar case was wet with water. However, that's exactly what's so strange. Miss Andrews, you testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case. However, if that was true, the case should have gotten wet on the inside, not the outside. That's very true. Furthermore, there's one other strange thing about this guitar case. What is that? let's take another look at the crime scene photo. The remains of the vase are scattered on the floor. What is wrong with that? If the guitar case was open when the vase fell, the glass shard should be inside, not outside the case. What's your point, Wright? That case was closed at the time, the vase was knocked over. Is that all? No. Think back to what Miss Andrews testified to. She said that other than the vase, she didn't touch anything else.
Yes, that's right. She did implicitly say that she did not touch the guitar case.
But this whole matter with the guitar case is a dead end. The bright red guitar was found at the studio. It has no bearing on this case at all.
That may very well be. However, the empty guitar case does seem to have no relation to this case, doesn't it? It seems that there's no deeper meaning to the guitar case. Well, Mr. Wright, do you think we need to hear more details about the guitar case?
You know what? Make her testify. The empty guitar case. I believe this is a crucial piece of the puzzle. I can't believe anyone would reach for straws like this. But it's you. Can't believe I'm doing this either.
Alright, follow along for now. Miss Andrews, please testify to the court about the guitar case.
Yes, Your Honor. I don't remember too clearly because I was a bit dazed. I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. It's not a big deal though, right? Case was empty after all. As for why I opened the case, even I don't know.
Looks like this really wasn't a very important point.
This wastefulness is such a familiar feeling by now that it's almost comforting.
Sorry, give me a sec.
Sorry about that. Sorry I keep having to pause. I don't know what's up with me tonight. Anyway, I'll just go ahead and start the cross-examination. Using it anyway to change the topic. A convenient escape for a weak man.
I don't remember too clearly because I was a bit dazed.
Actually, wait, I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over, but it only has Juan Carita's fingerprints on it, right? Yeah. There's no way you were the one who opened the guitar case.
Why would you say that?
It's elementary, my dear. Because the only fingerprints on this guitar case are those of the victim.
Is it, Miss Andrews?
You shouldn't assume that I must have left prints just because I touched the case.
What do you mean?
What if I were to tell you that I was wearing gloves at the time?
Gloves? Why would you be wearing gloves at the time?
It was the night of the award ceremony. So of course, I dressed up for the occasion. Yes, now I remember. I'm almost sure I was wearing a pair of thin gloves.
I see. Well, Mr. Wright, it seems the witness was wearing gloves at the scene of the crime.
That's strange. You're wearing gloves. Isn't that a little strange?
Why is that strange? Do you have something that would prove that I was not wearing gloves at the time?
It's the thing of juice, because the juice thing has your fingerprints on it. I have your proof right here. This wine glass.
The wine glass?
You left your fingerprints very clearly on this wine glass. Even if you took your gloves off when you poured yourself this glass of juice, wouldn't you think it was just a little strange that you put your gloves back on just to open the guitar case? Her glasses just vaporized. Order, order, order.
Looks like you hit the nail on the head this time.
What do you mean?
I believe that guitar case plays a very important role here.
It's just an empty case.
I wonder if it really was empty, though.
But the guitar. Bright Red Guitar was at the studio.
Phoenix, drop all of your presumptions. What was in the guitar case was not the bright red guitar.
You don't mean it was a bright white guitar? Wait, that's not right either. I admit it would be unnatural for someone to do that. So the witness was not wearing gloves, despite the fact that on the case...
Your Honor, this is obviously the defense's usual misdirection tactic at work. Steer the court towards an unrelated topic and lull us all into this misguided...
No, Your Honor. Please recall that Miss Andrews had testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case, which means that the case was closed when the crime took place. However, it's wide open in the photo of the crime scene. I'm sure this guitar case has some relation to the murder.
If you're so sure, Wright, then I'm sure you can somehow substantiate your outrageous claim, correct? Please, enlighten us as to why that guitar case has anything at all to do with this murder.
Can you do that? Can you do that, Mr. Wright?
Well, let's suppose for a second that the bright red guitar was not the only thing that could have been in the case.
Bright red guitar not being the only thing. You don't mean it was a black guitar?
And so, you intend to push your theory that the case was not empty. Is that it, Mr. Wright?
I wouldn't say something I didn't intend to prove.
Deflate that head of yours. You haven't proven anything yet. Now then, let's have it. What was inside this case at the time of the murder?
Would it be this? Because I think the costume was in the case. They had like a spare nickel samurai costume. This is a photograph.
Yes, but what's important is what's in that picture, Your Honor.
In this picture,
it doesn't take a genius to see what I mean. What I'm proposing is...
Hey, Sachi.
Inside the guitar case was the nickel samurai, the hero's very own costume.
Wanted to pop in and say something since you missed stream yesterday. Just bought the Turnabout collection. Nice. So does that mean that you're not gonna be in the Ace Attorney streams? It's screaming my DMs. Fair.
Oh, you're going to love this case. But yeah, thanks for stopping by, Sachi. I appreciate it. And I think we've got like maybe 2 more streams of this, and then we should be moving on. Inside the guitar case was the Nickel Samurai, the hero's very own costume. What?
Mr. Wright, explain yourself.
Right, are you saying that the witness opened the guitar case to take out a costume? What insane point would there be to doing something like that? That insane point would be to wear the costume, of course. Miss Andrews put it on to hide her identity so she could make her escape. I'll try to remember, Sachi. After all, you couldn't let anyone see you leave, could you, Miss Andrews? I refuse to accept your theory. Do you have anything to support such a preposterous idea? Just outside the door was an investigative photographer who was starving for a big scoop. And in the end, she managed to get this shot, correct?
You mean this photo?
Yeah, thanks again for stopping by, Sachi.
Order, order! Looks like we've wandered into quite another mess again, haven't we?
Nice job, Phoenix.
Well, you know my strategy. Speak first, think later.
So the real murderer was hiding inside a costume.
Yeah, Lotta's here. Wait a second, Your Honor. The Nickel Samurai's costume would have been at Mr. Madangard's. Why would something of the defendant's be in the victim's room? And inside the guitar case of all places?
True. It is a little baffling. Mr. Wright, the court would like to hear your thoughts. What was this Nickel Samurai costume doing inside the guitar case?
Mr. Ungard did not take his costume off during the break period. In that case, the costume we're talking about was a spare one. What?
Then, are you saying that on the night of the murder, there were 2 Nickel Samurai costumes at the Gatewater Hotel?
Yes, that is what I'm saying.
And how do you explain the costume that was inside the guitar case?
It would mean that the victim himself had brought this spare to the ceremony on purpose.
But why? Victim, Mr. Kurita, was the Jamin Ninja. Why would he secretly bring the Nickel Samurai's spare costume with him? What could be the reason behind such a peculiar act?
Therein lies the sticking point. What are you mumbling to yourself about now? Have you just been rambling all this time without a sense of inner monologue? Huh? No, I just...
Mr. Wright, please explain yourself. Why do you think the victim had the Nickel Samurai's spare costume?
Phoenix, are you sure you can explain this one? Think carefully before you answer, and then answer with gusto. I believe in you.
Alright, this is what I think. The reason the victim brought the Nickel Samurai's spare costume to the hotel was...
What is this?
On the night of the murder, after the stage show, the Nickel Samurai was going to hold a special press conference.
A press conference?
Yes, the Nickel Samurai was supposed to confess something at this conference. I heard about this as well. For once, you're not making something up, right? But what struck me as strange was that Mr. Ungard himself said he had no idea he was supposed to be holding a press conference that night.
But how can that be?
The way I see it, that can mean only one thing. The conference was set up by none other than the victim, Mr. Juan Kurita himself.
The victim? Yes. Spare Nickel Samurai costume was prepared for that very conference. Mr. Kurita was going to hold the press conference as the Nickel Samurai. He's going to dress up as the Nickel Samurai and hold a conference. But why would the victim do such a thing? That's something I don't quite know yet. However, what I'm concerned with right now is what he intended to reveal at that conference. The Nickel Samurai was going to confess something. And by confess, I'd wager he was going to reveal something about himself. Which means that Juan Kurita, posing as the Nickel Samurai, was going to speak about Matt on Guard. Yes, I guess that's what it would mean. But if that's the case, that's not a confession, that's public disclosure. Miss Andrews?
I can see why you're pros at what you do.
Pardon me?
Yes. Just as you say, the press conference was set up by Juan.
Miss Andrews, please offer us an explanation for this.
I was the one he asked to help set it up. And the person who prepared the second costume for him, that was also me.
Oh.
Juan had bet everything on the Jammin' Ninja this year. And if he lost the Grand Prix, he's going to make sure Matt was going down with him. That's what he thought anyway.
He's going to ruin him? Ah.
It looked like somehow Juan had a secret in his hands, or had in his hands a secret so powerful that it would destroy Matt's acting career had it been revealed.
What? Know what the secret of Mr. Unguard's is? Or do you know what the secret of Mr. Unguard's is, Miss Andrews?
That's something only Juan knew. I don't know what it is.
Ah, I see.
I've probably been coming off quite suspicious to everyone. But that's to be expected. I've been trying to protect Matt after all.
Protect Mr. Unguard? Yet again, another strange bit of truth comes to light, it seems. Miss Andrews, if you could please tell us the truth about your behavior.
Yes, Your Honor. I understand. From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling Matt was the murderer. Matt had to kill Juan no matter what. And he didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course. The button and the knife. But I'm Matt's manager, so I felt that I had to protect him.
This does account for everything.
Well, I am the logical type. We're finally seeing her true self. She's more nervous than a scared rabbit.
The defense can find no fault with this testimony. I'm ready to make a ruling. Please keep that in mind as you cross-examine, Mr. Wright. Looks like somehow everything is swung to the opposite end of the scale again. That just means I have to put my weight into this and turn her logic upside down.
From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer.
Would you say that was your intuition speaking to you?
Don't confuse my methods of reasoning with your own. If you want to prove that someone did something, you need 3 things.
3 things? Let's see. You need evidence. Evidence and motive are 2 of them.
A motive, an opportunity to commit the crime, and finally, decisive evidence. If you think these 3 things through, the answer becomes quite clear. You should have already known that, Phoenix.
Didn't teach that to us in school. At least not from what I remember.
May I continue now? Matt had to kill Juan no matter what.
So would you say this need came from the press conference?
Yes, do you know why Juan chose that event and the hotel for that conference? Because that was when he could cause the most damage to the public's beloved Mad on Guard.
You knew of this plan, didn't you, Miss Andrews?
Yes, because I was the one who set up the conference and prepared the costume.
But I'm sure Mr. Ungard himself didn't know anything about the press conference.
Oh, really? Can you show me any proof that he didn't know about the press conference?
Anyway, the important thing here is that this information was not in your testimony.
Yes, I agree. Miss Andrews, please correct your testimony, if you please.
Grasping at straws now, are we, Mr. Wright? I know what his motive was, but I don't have any way to prove that I'm right.
Has Mr. Ungard done something to hurt or betray you personally?
Why do you ask?
You were the one who helped Mr. Kurita with his press conference. And that event was supposed to bring down Mr. Ungard, yet you still helped out. The person on trial right now was Mr. Ungard, right? What the witness was thinking, helping the victim with his plan, is none of our concern. In any case, this means that the defendant had a motive to kill. Why do I keep doing this to myself?
He didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder.
But didn't you already testify earlier that Mr. Ungard was taking a nap in his room? Are you telling me now that that too was a lie so you could cover for Mr. Ungard?
I'm not telling you anything of the sort. When I went to get him for the show, he honestly was sleeping. However, as to whether he was sleeping the entire time, that I cannot say. I was too busy setting up the stage at the time.
Keep trying, but I can find no flaws in what Miss Andrews has said. I can't say the same for some people here in this courtroom, however.
Judge is glaring straight at Mia. Why at Mia? Oh.
He's glaring at you, smart guy. My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course. The button and the knife.
You can hardly call the knife decisive evidence. The fingerprints on the knife very well could be a clever camouflage.
And then, what about the button?
The button?
It's clear from the crime scene that the victim and his murderer fought. And during the fight, the killer ripped the button from the Jammin' Ninja's costume.
Talking about this button, correct?
That button was found in the pleats of Matt's Hakama, isn't that correct? I think that makes it very decisive evidence.
Looks like you are outfoxed again, Mr. Wright.
Anyway, the knife doesn't prove a thing. Please fix your testimony.
I can't stand the sight of a man who can't gracefully accept his defeat.
That's a very Franziska von Karma line. Thank goodness Mia can still look at me.
With an icy stare, yes.
Miss Andrews, for Mr. Wright's sake, please add this information to your testimony.
That button was torn off with Juan during his fight with Matt.
And how did you know that?
When the ends of the threads on the button and the costume were matched up. They were found to fit together perfectly, or so I heard.
You heading out, Dash? I've heard that before too. Why would Miss Andrews know about this case down to such fine detail? Have a good night, Dash.
Don't look at me like that, just because I'm prepared and you're not.
I thought I had her this time for sure. If there's anything to trip her up on, it has to be here. But where and what?
But I'm Matt's manager, so I felt I had to protect him.
So the button was torn off of Juan during his fight with Matt, which the autopsy report, he wasn't, I think that it's the autopsy report here, because he wasn't... Like, he wasn't stabbed. He was strangled first and then stabbed post-mortem, to my understanding. Nice. This is the victim's autopsy report. It clearly states that the cause of death was strangulation by a scarf.
Strangulation?
The knife stab to the victim was done after the victim had already died. And what does that mean? Let's examine the evidence. This button has the victim's blood on it, which would mean that it was ripped off of the costume when? After the knife was stabbed into the victim. Exactly, which means it is impossible that this button was torn off during the victim's final struggle, because the victim was strangled to death in that fight. That's right, Miss Andrews. There's no way this button was ripped off during the struggle. This button was consciously pulled off the victim's already dead body. Order, order. What is the meaning? What is the meaning of this, Wright? So what if the button was torn off the body after the victim had already died? What does that change? Let me ask you one simple question, Mr. Edgeworth. Why was the button torn off? What purpose did that serve? What purpose? We now know that this button was not torn off during the fight. So the murderer took the time and effort to purposely rip this from the victim's body. That would mean that the murderer had something in mind, wouldn't it? Mr. Wright, does this mean? Does it mean you know what the murderer wanted to do with this button? What was it? There's only one logical reason for doing something like that. It was to pin the crime on Mr. On Guard. There's no way anyone would put a bloodied button in their own pants. That's right, Mr. On Guard was set up. By the real killer, of course. And the real murderer is... Well, Mr. Wright, who in the world is the real killer, then? Finally. Can't believe I managed to bring this trial all the way up to this point.
Phoenix, you can't let your guard down yet. Not until the very end.
The real killer, the person who planned to frame Mr. On Guard, is... Miss Adrian Andrews. I choose you. You are Mr. Kurita's killer.
What?
Order, order, order. Mr. Wright, this is a very grave matter. Do you have any evidence that supports your charge?
Any evidence? All of the evidence points to Miss Andrews.
What? How preposterous. You can't stick any of that on me.
I can't, can I? Would you care to test me?
Then, what about this knife?
The knife was used to stab the victim after he'd already been strangled to death. It was used to throw suspicion onto Mr. On Guard, naturally. A knife covered in the defendant's fingerprints could only be taken from his room. And the only one who had dinner with him and knew which knife to take was you.
Then, what about the button that was found in Matt's Hakama?
This button was removed from the victim's body after he had already died. The only people who could have done so were the person who found his body, or the killer. However, if Mr. On Guard was the real killer, there's no way he would have put such incriminating evidence in his own Hakama. the only person who could have put this button into Mr. On Guard Takama is the person who went to wake him up from his nap, which is you, yet again, Miss Andrews.
I see. What about the empty guitar case?
That's also another piece of evidence that incriminates Miss Andrews. That costume was used to hide the real killer's identity as they fled the scene of the crime. Now, who could have known that there was such a costume inside the guitar case? It could only have been the person who prepared the costume for the victim. And that person is you, Miss Adrian Andrews.
No,
But Miss Andrews' fingerprints were nowhere to be found on the guitar case. And it was you who proved that she was not wearing gloves at the time.
That's right.
That's because she did not intend on leaving any prints. If anyone had found out that she had touched the case, they would have asked her why. So to avoid leaving any prints, she used a towel or something else to open it. But the glass of tomato juice is a different story. Miss Andrews purposefully left her fingerprints on the glass to show that yes, indeed, she was the classic dazed discoverer of a dead body. And to top it all off, there's this photo. A photo of the killer as they exited the scene of the crime. No reasonable person on Earth can believe that this nickel samurai is Mr. On Guard. He would be much too short for his own costume if it was him. Speaking of how tall people are, Miss Andrews, you're also kind of short in stature, are you not?
please, stop.
Well, how about it, Miss Andrews? Got her this time.
Miss Andrews?
I refuse to testify.
What was that?
There's a law. It says I can't be forced to testify about something if it can incriminate me.
Well, yes. You're absolutely correct, Miss Andrews. The law does provide us with a way to avoid self-incrimination, allowing witness to not testify if the testimony can cause damage to themselves.
What? Phoenix, you don't know about the Fifth Amendment? Pleading the Fifth is not something most people would think to do on the spot. Okay, good, you do know what the Fifth Amendment is. Actually, thinking back to yesterday in Mr. Unguard's room.
Adrian Andrews. Yes? Think hard about what we just discussed. Understood. Alright.
That's it. That's when Franziska planted this idea into her head. She must have told Miss Andrews not to testify if things looked bad.
You did a good job proving everything up to this point, Phoenix. But there's still one thing you haven't done.
Something I haven't done. What's wrong, Wright? Are you finished already? Run out of evidence?
So humorous, Mr. Edgeworth.
I'm sure you realize this as well, Your Honor. But everything the good lawyer here has proven up to this point is meaningless. What? Everything you have proven is circumstantial.
Circumstantial?
Yes, circumstantial. You have yet to provide a single piece of definitive proof.
Well, you have yet to give a single piece of definitive proof either, Edgeworth, to pull your head out of your ass.
Proof that Miss Andrews did, in fact, harbor a wish to murder Mr. Kurita.
Miss Andrews, did you want to kill Mr. Kurita?
I believe this may lead me to incriminating myself, so I'll abstain from answering.
Miss Andrews, do that, it would be the same as admitting your guilt, don't you think?
Maybe so, or maybe not. There's nothing to prove it either way. Besides, you don't even know what crime I would be guilty of due to my silence.
No, she's taking that defiant attitude again. Mia, what should we do?
Somehow, we've landed in the worst possible situation.
I think we have reached a certain conclusion at this point in time. Miss Adrian Anders has refused to testify, and the defense's theory that she is the actual murderer has not been fully substantiated with solid, definitive proof.
But that's not true.
In this situation, there's only one thing this court can do, and that is to declare a recess.
Recess?
I request that both the prosecution and the defense look further into this matter. And at tomorrow's trial...
Tomorrow? We don't have a tomorrow. If we don't get a not guilty verdict today, then... Please wait, Your Honor. That's not necessary. The trial... Please continue the trial. And what are you sweating for? Your client is getting one more day to live, isn't he? That's not it. It isn't about that. Edgeworth, I know you know who the real killer is. Please, let the trial continue. If I don't get the verdict, then Maya...
It's impossible to continue as long as the witness refuses to testify. Now then, this court has...
It's not impossible for this trial to continue.
Mr. Edgeworth, what are you...
It's true Miss Andrews holds the right against self-incrimination. However, if the topic of conversation was something unrelated to whatever she might be guilty of, then she has no right to withhold testimony.
Yes, it's very true, but...
Actually, there's one little thing I'm curious about. Miss Andrews, when you found the victim's dead body, you poured yourself a glass of juice. Yes, and? I can't help but think how unnatural that is. Usually, when one finds a body, they're shaken up, not stirring a glass of juice.
So, my actions were unusual, but I've already...
Before you speak, I want to state that if you have a reason behind your actions, I would like you to testify to that effect.
Testify?
Your Honor, I'd like to request that the witness testify again as to what happened when she first discovered the victim's body. Whatever we find out in this, or whatever we find out in this testimony should in no way implicate the witness.
I don't know what it is about Edgeworth today, but I can't get a good read off him. Is he friend or foe? I just don't know.
Court acknowledges the prosecution's request. Miss Andrews, if you please.
That glass of juice, I didn't really pour it for myself. I was surprised when I walked into the room and saw it in that messy state. And he was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner. When I saw him sitting like that, the thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind. To be honest, I thought he had just fainted or something, so I went to pour him some juice. And when I realized that he was dead, that's when I knocked the flower vase over.
She poured that glass of juice for the victim. Why didn't you say so in your earlier testimony?
I didn't think I needed to include something so trivial. Phoenix, please be careful here. If you can't find anything wrong with this testimony, then there's nothing left.
I know. Edgeworth, what the heck is going on in that brain of yours? Hard cut to Ace Attorney Investigations, like, the logic menu. The two logic bubbles are, missing chess piece and, victim or person is chewing on something.
Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination.
That glass of juice, I didn't really pour it for myself.
But there wasn't anyone else in that room, right?
Of course not.
Then who did you pour it for?
Mr. Wright, there's a rhyme and reason for everything. Can you wait just a little longer for it to be revealed to you?
In other words, Wright, be quiet and listen.
Precisely. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Ugh.
I was surprised when I walked into the room and saw it in that messy state.
So, it was a mess? Are you sure it wasn't messy because of your fight with Mr. Kurita? I understand your frustrations at not being able to prove your theory. However, before you go accusing people of crimes, go find yourself some evidence. And then, what did you see next, witness?
And Juan, he was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner.
Slumped over?
Yes, he was just sitting there with his head tilted forward, eyes closed. He really looked like he was sleeping.
Is it just me, or did that right there sound a little odd?
When I saw him sitting like that, the thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind.
Then what did cross your mind?
I thought maybe he had smashed everything up in anger because he lost the Grand Prix. And then felt tired after his rampage, so he decided to take a nap. Anyways, that's what I thought.
See, so you didn't think he was dead at all.
And to be honest, I thought he had just fainted or something, so I went to pour him some juice.
You thought he fainted?
I thought he was asleep at first. But then, the room was in such a messy state. I thought maybe he had gotten into a fight with someone.
And that's when you went to pour the glass of juice.
Yes, he always has a hard time waking up. So Juan always has his glass of tomato juice to drink.
I see. After that, what happened next?
And when I realized that he was dead, that's when I knocked the flower vase over.
And how did you come to realize that he was, in fact, dead?
I shook him over and over, but I never got a response. So I set the glass down on the dresser and tried to take his pulse. I was shocked and staggered backward.
And knocked the flower vase over. So that's what happened.
Yes. And this is what it all comes down to.
Huh?
This is the absolute end for both sides, and Adrian is letting her guard down. Phoenix, now's our best chance to kill the prosecution's case.
Isn't that a bit harsh? Miss Andrews, will you tell us the truth this time? Surprised when I walked in and saw it messy. Juan, he was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner. When I saw him sitting like that, the thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind. Despite the fact that you claimed to have seen it as the crime photo, essentially you just admitted to planting the knife. Yep. So you honestly didn't think he was dead when you found him?
No, not at all.
Even though this is what you saw when you discovered the body? What is the meaning of this? Isn't it obvious, Your Honor? There's a knife sticking straight out of Mr. Kurita's chest. Anyone who saw this scene would have immediately thought that there was a dead man. Or that here was a dead man.
That's, well, you see.
I doubt a single person in the world would mistake this for someone who fainted. And then so nonchalantly go pour something to drink. Your point is? Miss Andrews, your testimony just now
It was all one giant lie. And your lie has proven one thing very clearly. That you are the real killer.
No!
Looks like the defense has somehow brought the ugly truth to light. Defendant, Mr. Matt on guard, is not guilty after all.
But that's impossible. You're wrong.
Miss Andrews, try to have some composure.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me, I tell you. It was Matt, I swear it. He's the one who killed Juan.
But you were the one who refused to testify. And your reason for not doing so is that you might end up incriminating yourself.
That's because...
Miss Andrews, I'll give you one last chance. What exactly are you hiding that may incriminate you?
I refuse to testify.
There is no need for this court to continue any further. Mr. Madangard's innocence has been clearly demonstrated. Is it over? Have we found the truth at last?
What's wrong, Phoenix?
Usually the real killer confesses his or her guilt. Now that I think about it, this is the first time someone hasn't. Now then, I'd like to hand down my verdict for Mr. Matt on guard.
Your Honor, the prosecution feels that it would be premature to pass down a verdict at this time.
What?
The reason is quite simple. This witness has yet to speak the absolute real truth.
Absolute real truth? What are you?
Witness, don't you understand yet? Huh? I don't know who planted this silly idea in your head, but as long as you protect yourself through your silence, Matt on guard will go free, and in his place, you will become the guilty party.
That's a lie. I don't believe you.
What?
I was told if I spoke, then it would be all over, and Matt would never be declared guilty.
What in the world is she talking about? She lost it?
I can't speak about it. I'm too scared. It's Franziska von Karma.
Huh?
Don't you remember, Phoenix? Miss Andrews lives by gripping tightly onto the words of another. Because she doesn't have the strength to believe in herself.
Then, right now, Miss Andrews is...
Yesterday, she was tossed a lifesaver by Miss von Karma. Don't say a word, no matter what happens. If you do, Matt on guard will be acquitted. Miss Andrews undyingly believes in those words right now, and is clinging on to them.
Then what should we do? This is the first time I've ever come across anything like this. But Miss Andrews has to be the killer, right? All we have to do now is get her not guilty. That is my only priority.
It wasn't me. I'm begging you, please believe me. I didn't kill Juan. Help, please. Someone help me.
Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor? Court can't continue like this. Therefore, I'd like to hear what you intend to do. I intend to do? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say?
Right. I suggest you think very carefully about this. Think about what this witness did and what she did not do. And think about who is the real mastermind behind this crime.
Who's the real mastermind? Isn't that obvious? There's no one else it could be except the woman crying over there, right?
Come now, what will you do? What kind of man are you, Mr. Phoenix Wright? have to win a complete acquittal today. There's no way around that. But I can't bring myself to do it like this. Not when she's making a face like that. Miss Andrews, I'd like to know what you're really hiding.
Mr. Wright, are you sure you know what you're doing?
Sure, Mr. On Guard would get an acquittal, but in his place, you would be found guilty. Is this how you really want this trial to end?
Be quiet. How dare you? You're trying to trick me.
It's enough. I commend you for trying, Mr. Edgeworth. However, it's clear that the defense's theory is the truth.
You're wrong.
What a shame. I had hoped things wouldn't have come to this. However...
What is it, Mr. Edgeworth?
Miss Andrews, since you absolutely refuse to testify, it falls on my shoulders to disclose this to the court.
Stop.
Mr. Edgeworth?
This witness, how should I put this? She has an illness.
What?
And because of this illness, she's tried to commit suicide in the past.
Stop. Please stop.
No matter how much you want to hide it, it's no use. I have the evidence right here.
That's
the second part of the suicide report. The attempted suicide report. What will you do now, witness? You know what I'm about to do, don't you? I will now reveal to the court the true nature of the pitiful woman known as Adrian Andrews. The secret of her dependent nature. Having other people know about it scares her more than anything else in the world.
Please stop. I beg you. If people find out, I'll...
If you're going to say you would choose death, that is of no concern to me. Edgeworth, how can you be so cold? However, before you die, I will pull the truth from your still breathing lips. No matter what I have to do. So, will you tell the court yourself, or shall I? Either way is fine with me.
I'll talk, but please, help me. Nothing matters anymore. When I first saw him, I really thought he had fainted, honest. When I realized he was dead, that's when I formulated my plan. Once I made sure there was no one in the hallway, I made a dash back to Matt's room. And then, I stabbed Juan's dead body with the knife, and ripped off the button. Just when I finished and was returning to Matt's room, I had a bit of an inconvenience. And that's why I ended up using the Nickel Samurai costume.
Stabbed the body? The knife? But why would you do that?
Isn't it obvious? To pin the blame on a certain person. A certain cowardly man.
What do you mean by all this?
It might take this court a little while to understand, but... this is the truth.
The real killer is Matt. That scumbag of a man. I'll never forgive him. He's trying to escape his guilt again, just like last time.
Last time? So, Miss Andrews stabbed the victim, Juan Carita, in the chest with the knife. However, she didn't do it with murder in mind. She did it with the intent of framing Matt on guard for the murder. And this is her crime. What? How is this possible? I mean, wasn't Miss Andrews supposed to be the real murderer?
Mr. Wright, please get over your shock and commence the cross-examination.
When I first saw him, I really thought he had fainted, honest.
But you could tell from the state the room was in that there must have been a fight. Are you telling the truth when you say that you did not know he was dead?
He had a scarf tied around his neck. That scarf is part of the Jammin' Ninja's costume, so I didn't think anything about it was strange. His head was also tilted down a bit, so I couldn't see his face that well. That's why I thought I'd wake him up, and went to pour the juice. And when I realized he was dead, that's when I formulated my plan.
What is this plan you had?
I knew right away the murderer was Matt. I knew because, one, he was going to expose Matt's weakest weak point to the world. So Matt did this to stop one and silence him for good. That's when I thought, I should forge some evidence and pin this crime on Matt.
So the forged pieces of evidence were the knife and the button.
The first thing that came to mind was to plant the knife. Once I made sure there was no one in the hallway, I made him dash back to Matt's room.
That was so you could get the knife, correct?
The knife Matt used at dinner had his fingerprints all over it. I thought if I used that, then the police would certainly turn their eyes toward him.
Also, completely random thing, I really like this picture of Adrian. This is a good, like, I don't know, there's something about the way that this is drawn that I like this picture of Adrian.
Matt was napping with his costume on at the time. I slipped in, took the knife, and returned to the scene of the crime. And then I stabbed Juan's dead body with the knife and ripped off the button.
So you were the one to stab the victim with that knife.
It gives me goosebumps to think about it now. What a horrible thing I did. But at the time, I couldn't control my own body. It moved on its own. Then, when I stabbed Juan's dead body, I suddenly realized something. If I used the button somehow, I could make Matt look even more suspect.
So you thought to rip one of the buttons off and plant it in Matt Ungard's Hakama.
Yes, that's what I had planned to do. But things never go that smoothly, do they? Just when I finished and was returning to Matt's room, I had a bit of an inconvenience.
An inconvenience?
There was a woman with a camera at the ready, loitering in the hallway.
Willing to bet my spikes it was Lotta.
There was also a woman with a ray gun at the ready, pacing back and forth.
That's Miss Oldbag for you.
I'd already been caught and made into a big scoop for a certain weekly tabloid once, so I couldn't very well go out looking like myself to get caught again. And that's why I ended up using the Nickel Samurai costume.
You were the one who prepared that costume, weren't you?
Yes, I took it from Global Studios. I also put it into Juan's guitar case the day before the award ceremony.
You did this in preparation for the press conference, correct? I'm sorry my Edgeworth voice is kind of dying.
Yes, Juan wanted to wear that costume and hold a press conference with it. He was going to disclose Matt's big secret there.
And what is the secret?
That, I don't know. Anyway, I thought that if I were to leave Juan's room in the Nickel Samurai costume, then people would think that Matt was the real murderer. I was very careful not to leave any fingerprints when I opened the guitar case. I absolutely did not want anyone to know about the costume.
I think we've heard enough. So, after that, you went back to Mr. Ungard's room and planted the button.
Into Matt's Hakama? Yes. After that, I folded up the costume I was wearing and put it into a bag. Then I snuck it out of the hotel and got rid of it.
My word, what does all this mean?
Mr. Edgeworth, is it? The real criminal is Matt on guard. Yesterday, that woman prosecutor sat me down for a talk.
Francisca, huh?
She said that I should, under no circumstances, confess to what I had done. That if I just kept quiet, then Matt would be found guilty for sure. I had no choice but to believe in her words.
What this witness has done is clearly unlawful. However, as long as her testimony stands, we can be certain she is not the real killer.
Wait, Your Honor. The defense still... Right. It's pointless. At this point in time, it is not possible to indict Miss Andrews on anything.
Yes, exactly. There isn't a single piece of evidence that points to her as the murderer. The cross-examination of the witness is over, and so is today's trial. We couldn't establish that the witness was the culprit. Please let it go, Mr. Wright.
But...
Mr. Edgeworth, please place Miss Andrews under arrest for further questioning.
Understood, Your Honor. The prosecution will arrange for her detention immediately.
That is all. Court is adjourned for today.
Today's trial. It's over. Didn't win an acquittal. Witness, would you mind if I asked you something? Edgeworth?
What is it?
Before you leave court today, I wondered if I might look at one thing. The card in your hand. It's had my interest for quite some time now. What exactly is it?
Oh, this? Mr. Wright also asked about this. Although I didn't remember it at the time you asked me about it, Mr. Wright. I remember it just now. We found this in the room on that day.
Or I found this in the room on that day. The room? That day?
Yes. I found this card when I discovered Juan's body. He was lying there, right next to him.
Yeah, that's what this right here is, right underneath the G, that I noticed last stream. You found that card next to the victim's body?
I suppose I must have unconsciously slipped it into my pocket. But it's not as if this card has any relevance to Juan's murder, right?
Yeah, I guess not. But it's still a strange card if you ask me. But as far as a clue to this case, I don't see why... Hold it. Witness, that card. Give it to me. Hurry. Edgeworth? Do you have any idea what you've stupidly yet inadvertently done? This... I can't believe you hid this from me all this time.
I didn't mean to. What is this all about?
Never seen Edgeworth so emotional before. That card. What in the world is it, and what does it mean?
Mystic Maya! Mystic Maya!
There, Pearls.
I can't take it anymore.
Look, it'll be alright. Everything may still work out. The condition was that we had to get a not guilty verdict. And so far, the kidnapper has kept his word and hasn't hurt Maya. And he won't because Mr. On Guard hasn't been given a guilty sentence yet. Cheer up. We don't have time to stand around crying. We have to get going.
You're right. Mystic Maya is in much more pain than I am.
Yes, that's right. So... Hey guys, glad I caught you, pal.
Mr. Scruffy Detective.
Oh boy, looks like Detective Gumshoe. Been dubbed Mr. Scruffy Detective in Pearl's book now. It's plain old Mr. Dick Gumshoe now, and I came to talk to you, pal. But we're kinda busy right now. So, what are you gonna do from now on? What do you mean, pal? Well, you've been fired, right? So, do you have a new job lined up yet? Oh, that. What am I supposed to do now, pal? I don't have anything coming in at all until my next payday. What are you talking about? You don't have another payday. Guess that means I'm just gonna have to work here at your place, pal. Say what? You'll be searching for things that'll prove Mr. Unguard's innocence all day, right? Well, yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna help you, pal. Got lots of experience in investigating and watching over people's places. I'm great at making really simple meals, pal. I'll take care of it all.
Come on, Mr. Nick. Let's let Mr. Scruffy Detective take care of things.
Okay. By the way, what's your best dish? Instant noodles, pal. Why am I surrounded by people who only eat cheap, unhealthy foods? That was the first time I've ever seen Mr. Edgeworth act like that. Never thought he'd say something like he didn't care if Miss Andrews killed herself.
He said that? That's horrible.
But because of him doing that, we got the truth finally. The truth. Miss Andrews' last testimony. I wonder if that was the truth. I'll give you that there was nothing strange in her testimony itself. But I still think there's something fundamentally wrong with the whole thing. You mean about that thing, pal? Why would she want to, almost need to frame Matt on guard? I couldn't figure that out from anything she said all day. Then you're saying that testimony was a lie? Not a lie per se. It just feels like there's more here than meets the eye. Or that's what Edgeworth would like us to believe.
That's such a dirty trick. Even that woman prosecutor was better than that.
Franziska von Karma. Speaking of Miss von Karma, do you have any more information on her condition? Wasn't she shot this morning? Miss von Karma was shot today on the way back to trial by a pistol, pal. But she's going to be fine, right? I mean, Edgeworth said she was in stable condition, but... Well, she's shot in the shoulder, so she's okay and still hanging in there. They should be done taking the bullet out, so she's probably resting in the hospital. Which one? I dread to ask. It's gonna be Hottie Clinic, isn't it? What, you gonna go visit her, pal? No? Well, I was kinda thinking about it. Hey, you actually got a heart, don't you? She looked like she was being tortured to death not being able to go to the trial today. So maybe it'd be good for her if you wouldn't let her whip you for a bit, pal.
Let's go and let her whip us, Mr. Nick.
Now I'm definitely not going. Let's see. The name of the hospital. Oh yeah, the Hottie Clinic. Fuck. The name sends a chill down my spine. Me too, Phoenix. Well, I guess it can't hurt to stop by and say hi. Except it very much can. Look, it's my attorney's badge. Oh, it's a little tarnished, don't you think, pal? Don't worry, I'll make it all sparkly shiny again. I'm really touched. Could you please take a look at this? Can't think of anything to say about this, pal. Why don't I make us some instant noodles instead? That's okay, really. Honestly, like, I always feel bad for Gumshoe because he's always the ass of every joke. And I love him. He's a big teddy bear. Never thought I'd ever come back to this place.
Yes. Are you here to visit a patient?
Hi. Wait a second. You're...
Yes, I'm Director Hottie.
Why are you still here?
Yes. What is it? Can I help you? You can tell me. Yes.
Director Hottie.
Or no, Director Hottie. Edgeworth.
Yes, I'm Director Hottie. Oh, you're the man from this morning. Yes. What was it?
Director, Franziska. How is Franziska von Karma?
You don't need to worry. Yes, she's in good hands.
I wouldn't call your hands very good hands, buddy. I just realized when he moves his hand up to his ear, he only has 3 fingers and a thumb. He's missing a finger in that pose.
Because you see, I'm personally taking good care of her. Yes. Yes. And that surgery, it went well.
You have my gratitude. It's like Edgeworth doesn't know about this director and his secret.
You look so pitiful, absolutely terrified. Yes. But I understand. Yes. Her opponent was a gun, after all. And when it snuck up on her real secret-like, she would scream real loud.
Yeah, or when I snuck up on her. Ugh. I see.
But she's really cute, too. And when I do that, she'd whip me with her whip. Boy, did I cry like a baby. Yes. But I think I could get used to it. Ugh.
God, why are you here, Hottie?
Ah!
Go back to your room.
You're so mean. So mean, my frisky Friska. Ugh. It's good to... Yeah. Okay. Yes. It's time for my IV drops. Yes.
And what are those tulips doing in your hands, Mr. Phoenix, Wright?
I knew I shouldn't have come here.
I was shot in front of the courthouse, in my right shoulder. But it's no big deal. This sort of thing happens all the time. I even had full intentions of running this trial this morning. But that would have been too much for you.
There's no need to act tough in front of us. Or in front of us, you know.
Regardless, I was dragged here by that man over there. He was so unyielding. One has to wonder if he was simply interested in stealing my case.
It was the only logical course of action, given the bullet was still lodged in your shoulder. But by taking over the case, I found myself having to clean up after you and that irresponsible deal you made. I think I know what deal he's referring to. Miss Von Karma, you made a deal with Miss Andrews yesterday, didn't you?
I don't know what you mean.
In order to make sure that you got your guilty verdict on Mr. Ungard, you told Miss Andrews not to testify in court today.
I don't know what you're talking about. Do you have proof I made such a deal?
You're denying it?
It looks like you were lucky, Mr. Phoenix, right? If I'd been in court today, this trial would already be over.
All while hiding Miss Andrews' own crime?
That isn't my problem, whether she had tampered with evidence or not. I have only one objective, to find Ungard guilty of murder. The end justifies the means, Mr. Wright. The end justifies the means.
Miss Von Karma, Adrian Andrews believed you when you said, if you don't tell the truth of what really happened, then Ungard will be found guilty.
And what does that have to do with me?
Because of that, she's now in danger of being found guilty herself. All because she believed in your words until the very end.
That still has nothing to do with me. She's just a weak person, that's all.
You had to know she was... Ow!
I think visiting hours here are about over. So, if you'll excuse me.
I'm sorry Francisca's voice has been all over the place this whole game.
What's wrong? Why did she suddenly cut you off?
Probably because she thinks I had an advantage in that argument, or I had the advantage in that argument. Edgeworth. What happened today at the trial, Edgeworth? That was not like you at all. I mean, I know you knew about Miss Andrews' condition. You could have made her testify as many times as you wanted, but to go that far... But she wouldn't testify about that until I said something. Listen, Wright. The courtroom is a garden of judgment. I'm putting myself on the line when I stand there. And that's why I made the witness do the same. It's only natural. By the way, Edgeworth, you were really angry in court today. That's rare for you. Witness, that card. Give it to me, hurry. Do you have any idea what you've stupidly yet inadvertently done? I cannot believe you hid this from me all this time. That card. What in the world is it? Phoenix, I don't appreciate you mimicking my posh way of speaking. I picked it up from Von Karma, and I can't just drop it. It's become a part of my personality. You mean this? Listen, Wright. This is top secret information. You absolutely cannot leak this. The Special Investigations Team has existed for a number of years, but few know of it. I understand. Their task is to find the owner of this card. A man called Shelley DeKiller. And just as his name states, he's a killer, an assassin, the best at that. An assassin? So who is this Shelley DeKiller? DeKiller is the name of a long-standing line of assassins.
Long-standing?
The name first appeared about 100 years ago, I hear. Shelley is the professional name of the third heir to the DeKiller name. So, because his professional name is Shelley, he leaves cards with a shell on them? He has a habit of making sure to leave a card by the body of his victims.
Why would he do something like that?
We think it's a part of his duty to his clients. His duty? If he leaves a card, then his clients can be assured it was he who killed the victim. It also serves as insurance against any charges being pushed onto his clients. I see. DeKiller values the trust between his clients and himself above all else. It seems that this one honorable assassin with a moral conscience, or that this is one. Yeah, this is one honorable assassin with a moral conscience. Guess that even honorable assassins exist. So, you think this assassin, you think he's the one who did the killing in this case? It would appear that way. The discovery of the card basically confirms it, wouldn't you agree? Shelley DeKiller. Huh. I noticed something at the trial today. You were behaving in a very strange manner. Is something the matter? I guess I should just tell him. Maya, she's been kidnapped. Kidnapped? What does the kidnapper want? An acquittal. I see. I had no idea. I'll prepare a rescue team as soon as possible and resolve this by tomorrow.
Really? Did you hear that, Mr. Nick? Mr. Edgeworth is going to...
Stop trying to console me, Edgeworth. I don't need your pity.
Mr. Nick?
There's no way you can find her. We don't even have a single lead to go on. There's only one way to save her. I have to get an acquittal somehow. It's the only way. Right. Listen. You need to know something. Juan Carita was killed by Shelly the Killer. And the client who ordered the job. He's Matt Ungard, your own client. Please, stop. I can't listen to you. I can't believe that. I see. Well, if you want to continue your investigation, you will need this.
What is it?
The hotel right now is restricted to police personnel only, as we're looking for any clues that might lead us to Shelly the Killer. But if you take this with you to the hotel, I'm sure they will let you enter. In any case, I must attend to the preparations for Maya's rescue team. We'll meet again if anything should happen. We'll meet again if anything should happen. Now, if you'll excuse me.
Mr. Nick, do you think Mr. Ungard hired an assassin?
No way. I mean, he doesn't have a psych lock. Psych lock, shit.
Yeah, I guess not.
Maya. Please. All I ask is that you make it home safe and sound.
I guess even kidnappers can be a little clumsy. Clumsy enough to drop a card like this for me. And even though he said he was an assassin, I bet he's just making that up, like how Nick does with everything in court. Anyway, let's try out the card trick with this card I just found.
This card trick actually works sometimes, depending on, it's really weird because I've tried this on a door before. I fucked around with this a bit. It's really weird because it kind of works, but it only works in one direction because of the way that bolts in locks are made now. Because they've got a slant on one side, and it doesn't even work on some, because some don't stick the bolt out enough to stick a card between it and the notch that it slips into.
Sounds like I got the door open. Okay, time to take a look around. What is this place? I've got a feeling I'm not in the hotel anymore. Are those videos over there? Well, I'll worry about that later. For now, I should be looking for clues. That way, I can show them to Sis and maybe get out of here. There's a framed picture sitting on this coffee table. It's a picture of a woman. She's kinda pretty. Hey, looks like something's written here. Let's see. I think it says, "With love, Celeste." I bet this could be a clue. That's weird. What's a figurine doing on a sofa in a place like this? I think it's a bear. Aw, how cute.
Give me a sec.
But it's got a lot of cuts and slits on it. I wonder if it's some kind of puzzle or something. It's so dark in here that I can barely see, but these kind of feel like videotapes, all of them. Just what kind of room is this? Oh, hey, it's a computer. I've never really used one before. I have no idea where the power switch on this thing is. Drat, there goes my plan to use this to somehow get out of here. What is this thing? An antenna, I guess. And this is...
Sorry, I'm starting to lose my voice.
And this is a VCR? There sure are a lot of electronic gadgets here. But what's an antenna doing here? Wow, I've never seen a TV this big before. Now, where's the power button? Phooey, it's busted. I would so die a Happy Samurai fan if I ever got to see the Nickel Samurai on a TV like this. I can't believe I just made a joke about dying, all things considered. Locked, of course. And it doesn't look like I can use the card to open this door. There's a little hole at the bottom of the door. If only I was a little skinnier, then maybe I'd be able to crawl through here.
Oh, this simply will not do. I cannot have you wandering around at will.
Yeah!
It seems that you, Mr. Wright, is truly concerned about you.
He is?
For now, I would suggest you remain cooperative. If you cannot, there are ways in which I can help you.
Ways? You mean?
Dead men tell no tales, is how the saying goes, correct?
Dead?
I'm almost certain I told you on our first meeting. I'm an assassin.
No way. You're lying. I mean, an assassin?
People are not always who they appear to be.
Nick! Mr. Nick?
Oh, yes, Pearls? I got caught up in my thoughts about Maya's situation.
Mr. Edgeworth is left, you know?
Guess for now I have no choice but to believe in Mr. Ungard. But I think I should listen to his story one more time. Alright, let's get going too.
Okay.
Sorry, but visiting hours are over for today.
Ugh.
I have too many questions I need to ask. I'm sorry, but I'm Phoenix Wright, a lawyer for one of the... Mr. Wright, you say? Oh, yeah. There's a message here for you. A message? It's from Madame Guard. Ah, here you are.
What did he write? Is it something really important?
I don't know. Well, let's see what it has to say. To Mr. Lawyer Dude, I've got something really important to tell you. How do I feel uneasy all of a sudden? Oh, Mr. Wright. So actually, I have a favor to ask of you. I have this cat named Shu. I didn't put out a lot of food when I left the house, so I was probably pretty hungry. Think you could drop by my house and feed Shu for me, dude? My house is just a little ways down from the hotel, alright?
This is terrible. Let's hurry. We have to feed his cat. I'm sure poor Shu's stomach is growling by now.
Yeah, I guess. Client's request is a request. Guess I should go check up on his cat.
Wow, everyone looks really busy with something or another.
They're probably strengthening the evidence for tomorrow's trial. Hey, hurry up with that, will ya? Pass that victims list around. Be kidding, there's over 100 people on here.
Mr. Nick, is Mr. Ungard really that big and bad of a criminal?
Actually, Pearls, never mind. Sounds like they're working on a different case.
All right now, Mr. Nick. Let's go look for clues. We have to, for Mystic Maya's sake.
Think this is Old Bag? You shall not pass. Miss Old Bag.
Don't devalue my name and turn it into a gasp, you spiky head pettifogger. Because of you, I've been made to look like the bad guy again. Although I did get a piece of gum from Edgy Boy, just as he promised. What I really wanted was something much more valuable. I wanted Edgy Poo's heart, I wanted it all for me. It's all your fault. You awakened the wild beast.
Miss Oldbag.
Keep your hands off me. This helmet's airtight. No air gets in and no air gets out.
And why do you keep putting it on?
Don't think you can get me to move with silly questions. You're gonna have to defeat me if you want to get by.
Not hearing this.
Ha. You're a million light years too early to be asking me questions, whippersnapper.
Looks like the only way I'm gonna get any investigating done is first do something about this kooky alien. Maybe if I show her this letter I got from Edgeworth. Miss Oldbag, if you would look at...
What? You want me to look at this worthless piece of... Edgy Poo?
Ugh. Is that her perfume? Pheromone d'Amour, I swear? Ugh.
Let's see here. Will you please allow this unsophisticated young person to conduct his investigation? Yours truly, Miles Edgeworth.
Yours truly?
That man's good at flattery. Fine, but only because Edgy Poo said so, you understand? I just thought of something I have to do. Remember, no messing around. You do anything bad and I won't let you off the hook.
It looks like she has strong feelings for Mr. Edgeworth.
It may be, but you know nothing's gonna come of it.
That's so mean, Mr. Nick. Feelings are meant to be told and shared.
Ow. Every time we talk about love, I always end up with a handprint on my face somehow. So anyway, let's continue our investigation.
Okay.
What? What now?
One little thing before I forget. You can't go into Unguard's room today.
Why?
Police's main investigation team is going to be there all day, you hear?
Wonder if they're the team in charge of investigating D-Killer.
So don't go in there. Set one foot in there and you'll face the wrath of Wendy Oldbag.
Why do I have to move here? Okay. See, I hate Ace Attorney 1 movement because it never makes any sense. It makes you have to do arbitrary strings of stuff. Sure is dark.
I'll go turn on the light.
Wow. So this is what a star's house looks like. Must be nice to be rich.
Come on, Mr. Nick. Let's find Shoo, the kitty cat. Shoo.
So I guess this is Shoo.
What a lovely cat. Hello, Shoo.
Cat seems to like pearls. Pardon me. May I help you with something, mister? Oh, we're lawyers. Actually, I'm Mr. Unguard's lawyer. The Masters. Then you must be Mr. Wright. Yes. It is a pleasure to meet your wonderful self. I am the family butler, John Doe. Nice to meet you. I'm an attorney. I was wondering if you wouldn't mind taking a look at this. I'm afraid I cannot offer up anything special about it. It's not appropriate for a lowly servant to speak of evidence for a trial. Polite yet snotty with a touch of rude. Stereotypical butler, alright? Can I present the card to him? Aw, he doesn't have unique dialogue for it. That's sad. I would have loved for him to have, like, a backhanded unique dialogue if you show him the card. You must know all sorts of things about Mr. Unguard, right? Honestly, sir, I don't believe my master is capable of such a foul deed as murder.
And, anything else?
No, not especially. It is not appropriate for a lowly servant to speak of the master or his affairs.
How typically butler-like, as it were. Mr. Doe, how long have you served at this residence?
Well, sir, I would have to say, maybe about 1 year.
And, anything else?
No, not especially. It is not appropriate for a lowly servant to speak of himself and his affairs.
No, I would have thought Mr. Ungard the kind to have a maid over a butler. It's a very cute cat you've got here.
It's my duty to take care of him. Master rather fancies Shu.
And, anything else?
No, not especially. It is not appropriate for a lowly servant to speak of the family cat.
Well then, I guess I don't need this piece of scrap paper anymore.
Well, I'm afraid I must take my leave of you now.
Oh, we should probably get going ourselves.
Ah, so young and yet already so accomplished. Master of the law.
There's also a lot to be proud of in being a butler, in charge of the house and all.
Thank you for the compliment, sir. People are not always who they appear to be. Now, if you'll excuse me.
Ah, there are masks here.
Yeah, that one in the middle is the Steel Samurai. The ones next to that are the Pink Princess and the Evil Magistrate. Oh, that's what the other one's supposed to be. They fought many battles against the backdrop of Neo-Old Tokyo.
Wow, you really know a lot about the Steel Samurai, Mr. Nick.
Don't know whether to laugh or cry that I know more about that show than a kid.
There's a small door at the bottom of this bigger door, Mr. Nick.
Bet it's for Mr. Ungard's cat to use.
Oh, you mean Shu?
The door. It's locked tight. Well, I guess that's to keep nosy people like me from entering it. There's another door over there.
You shouldn't go wandering off over there, Mr. Nick.
Yes, Pearls. Now I know how Maya feels when I tell her to stop playing around.
A giant bicycle is flying through the air.
That bicycle, Pearls, is one where you don't have to pedal, and it moves on its own.
Really? Wow.
Sorry to disappoint you. It can't fly.
Oh, that's too bad.
It's a very comfortable and spacious lounge set. Wonder if famous stars drop by and sit on it and have a good time. In any case, I don't really belong here, do I? Ugh. What's with me and feeling inferior today?
Oh, there's a giant cooking hearth here.
That's actually a fireplace.
How are they different, Mr. Nick?
You know, I've never actually seen a hearth before, come to think of it.
You should come and visit Fay Manor then. I'll show you one when you do.
Looks like we're the only ones here.
And yet, the hotel seems so busy somehow.
Probably because the police team is scouring for clues about Dick Killer.
Hey, City...
Gosh, this is gonna kill my voice. A lot of heart.
Hey, City Boy.
Lotta, you're still here?
Wrecking course. An investigative photographer eats or starves on her ability to snap up the scoop, yeah? And this hotel just has that aura of mystery. You know, like something's always about to happen. But, do you have a camera? Rick given. A photographer's gotta have cameras out the ear like a Or let Corn to be a real pro, you know?
Oh gosh, why is Lotta's voice being so difficult tonight?
And so I'm hanging around here. Speaking of cameras and feeding the mouth, do you have mine, you bread thief?
Why can't you drop that thief thing already? I want to ask you about the night of the murder.
What, you really gonna shell out the bucks for the info I got?
Lotta, you were loitering in this hallway the night of the murder, were you not?
Well, kinda, but
Brace yourself, Phoenix. Here it comes.
I didn't exactly hang around here the entire time, you know? Followed a few stars around. Got a few autographs, shook a few hands, and had a soda pop with a few of them, too.
It's like she wasn't here the entire time that night.
The security lady also wasn't in this hallway the whole time, either.
Guess this means there's no one who can tell us who came and went that night. So, about the note that was inside your camera case.
Oh, that ditty I wrote?
Yeah. Can I believe what you've written?
You mean the stuff about Ungard shoving his manager lady onto Karita?
Yeah.
Ah, well, I reckon you best not be believing that.
What?
Look, I sort of wrote that on a whim, you know? Writing whatever came to mind. Whatever came to mind? Yeah, when you get down to it, it's just a lot of random bull daughters. Hey, what's with you? Why are you staring at me like my grandpa used to? Hey, why do you look like you suddenly got older too? Or am I just shrinking here? Ah, my baby. My $1,600 baby. Ugh. What's with that red-coated prosecutor anyhow? The guy told me it was evidence and refused to give it back to me.
Well, that's kind of how it is.
Hey, you're that redcoat's friend, aren't you?
Or ain't ya?
So you put in a few good words for me and get me my camera.
You want me to do what?
Listen, nag the guy real good for about 5 hours and I guarantee he'll give it back.
Why don't you do your own dirty work?
Well, I reckon it's time for me to get going. Tabloid photographer without a camera is just a tabloid, huh?
Yeah, I guess so.
Keep yourself together out there, you hear? I'm coming to see you in court tomorrow.
Okay, I'll see you then.
And you there, little one. Keep up the good work, okay? Okay. Don't be picky about your food now. Okay. And make sure you do all your homework, you hear? Okay. And if you happen to find yourself a camera, make sure you bring it right to me.
Would you please just leave already? Someone's meditating.
Mr. Nick?
What is that otherworldly, ghastly moaning? Ugh.
I hate evil ghosts. Ah.
Don't think it's a ghost. Maybe it's a demon?
Excuse me. What are you calling a demon, brat? Ah!
Zoinks, it's the alien.
Who are you calling an alien?
I like that Ray Gun has its own, nameplate. Oh, it's just you, Miss Oldbag. What are you doing here?
What's wrong with youngins today? I came down here to pay my respects to my poor Juan, and you're disturbing me.
Please talk to me about the night of the murder just one more time.
I talked about it plenty at the trial. I was fooled, tricked, deceived by that fraud of a photographer and her note. She's loitering around here with that imbecile look on her face. With that imbecilic look on her face. Okay, got it.
Now hold on a sec there, you little pipsqueak. If you're going to take notes, at least make me sound better than that.
Oh, alright.
I've seen everything.
But you know, I was working that night too. Doing my job, minding my own business. So it's not like I had time to waste standing around here the whole night.
Ugh. Sorry. I might need to end stream a little bit early just because my throat's starting to get really worn out. I was wondering if you could tell me a bit more about Mr. Kurita.
He was the most popular star, you know? Especially where it counts, in my book.
But I heard that he was lagging behind in the polls against Mr. Ungard.
Well, that's just a recent thing. Bad luck and all that, you know? But he was going to become an even bigger, he was going to become an even bigger star than he used to be. Look, just look at this mountain of presents. It's a show of the mountain of feelings all his fans had for him.
Yeah, the mountain's pretty big. Certainly nothing to shake a stick at.
Mr. Nick,
What is it, Pearls?
the presents, they're all bears, right?
She's got a point. There isn't a single thing here that isn't a bear. All of Mr. Kurita's presents from his fans seem to be bears.
Oh, that's because you can't think of Juan without thinking about bears.
Bears? But why bears?
You don't know? When my dear Juan was training, he fought barehanded with a bear. He refused to give in and let the bear win, but after the fight, they became friends.
Wow, what a heartwarming story.
Look, it's just like in those young people's dramas. I can see those two tuckered out, down by a river going, heh, you sure can fight. You too, bub, you too.
Did all that really happen?
It's in his biography, bub.
What a load of crock.
So ever since then, fans have been giving him bears as presents.
Yeah, nice. Bears. I'm Uncle Bear, and I say it's barely 8 o'clock. What is that infernal racket?
It's one of the presents going off. Sounds like it's already 8 p.m., way past your bedtime.
Ugh. It startled me. Thought I was gonna die for a second.
8 p.m. That's the time when the award ceremony ended that night, remember?
I'm sure flies. Hard to believe it's been 2 days since the ceremony. Transceiver! Hello? Hello? This is not a phone. Maya, how is Maya? You haven't heard her, have you? Seems you were not able to fulfill your end of the bargain, Mr. Attorney. I have heard the news. So it would seem my present to you did no good. Or did you no good?
No! Mystic Maya! Mystic Maya!
One more day, please. All I ask is for one more day. I'll get a not guilty verdict for sure this time. Please. I suppose if I must. I need that acquittal more than anything else, after all. Please. Please let Maya say something. I want to hear that she's alright. Alright. Then. Little. What's with this static all of a sudden? Hello? Hello? Seems bad. Damn it. Did the transceiver just suddenly break? Excuse me.
What happened?
I don't know. All of a sudden it became nothing but static.
Ah! Mystic Maya! Mystic Maya!
But why did the transceiver suddenly break like that? I should probably have an electronics expert look at it. Sooner the better. And so, of course, we give it to Gumshoe. Hey, welcome back, pal. Thought I'd make you a little something for dinner. That's nice. Thanks. Rich man's luxurious full-course meal. Out of a can, that is. I'm sorry you went through all the trouble to cook, but I don't have time to eat. Oops, look like you don't have a can opener, pal. You've gotta be kidding. And Harry thought he had already whipped something up. Oh, I know. It's one way I know how to be helpful. Ask me about anything you want, pal. Go ahead. Well, since he's here and offering, wonder what I should try asking him about. Yeah. Tripping over my words a lot. Transceiver?
Oh, Mr. Nick. You should ask Mr. Scruffy Detective about that thing.
What thing? Oh, yeah. This thing just up and broke all of a sudden. It broke, pal? When I was talking to the kidnapper, it suddenly broke into static. Look, it sounded like this. Don't hear any static, pal. Huh?
Maybe it fixed itself?
That's strange. Sure it was making a loud static noise. Maybe what? Maybe it was electromagnetic interference, pal. Electromagnetic interference. So what is electromagnetic interference? Something that happens when a radio wave gets mixed up with another signal, pal. Oh, when you put it that way.
I don't understand what you're talking about.
Like, for example, when a cell phone goes off next to a computer screen. Stuff on the screen gets kind of fuzzy and starts acting funny, right?
Huh? Computer?
It's like when you use the dryer next to a TV and the screen starts looking weird.
Oh, yes, the TV does do that. Oh, so that's what you're talking about.
She seems amazingly happy to be able to understand this. It's the room you were in when that interference to the transceiver happened. It's gotta be something there that's sending out very strong radio waves, pal. Something like a listening device or something. Ah! Hey, speaking of that, where were you when it happened?
We were in Mr. Kurita's room. The scene of the murder.
What? That's it, I'm gonna sneak into the precinct and get a bug sweeper. I'll meet you at the crime scene later, alright, pal? Wait, Gumshoe! Oh yeah, baby, it's investigating time. I'm on fire, pal. My fingers are itching to go. Yeah! Ryan time.
We should be going too, Mr. Nick.
Alright, let's go. I love having to make 12 different stops every time I want to go to one specific spot. Hey, I'm finally here, pal. I'm sorry to keep you waiting.
Do you have the, bug sweeper?
Well, you see, got busted trying to sneak in, pal. And suddenly I'm staring at the precinct doors. On the outside, I mean. So yeah, couldn't get one of the police bug sweepers. What do you mean you couldn't get one? We need that item. Hey, calm down, pal. Didn't say I didn't get one, just not the police's.
Wow, so this is a bug sweeper.
It's a little broken. Hey, this was made when I was in elementary school, pal. Oh? By who? Me, of course. Seeing this sure brings back memories. Hey, don't look down on it, pal. Sure looks a little beat up, but I put my heart and soul into building this puppy here.
Your heart and soul?
It'll work, trust me, pal. It'll do the job. But? You can't set the sensitivity. The
It's gonna beep at anything that gives off electromagnetic waves.
But isn't it better that way?
Well, anyway, since I brought it all this way, might as well give it a whirl, right, pal? Getting that sinking feeling again. Okay, now I'll tell you how to use this baby. There's a listening device or some other sort of bug hidden in this room, pal.
So, we're gonna find it, right?
Right. Now, first, let's turn the sweeper on. Next, move the sweeper around to give the room a real thorough look-see, pal. Sweeper will let you know how strong of a signal it's picking up, okay? Just keep an eye on it. Once you find something that's giving off a lot of radio waves, press the A button to lock onto it. There's a lot of things here that's gonna give off radio waves. So let's take a good look at anything and everything that seems suspicious. Okay, pal? Alright, I'm gonna go stand outside and keep an eye out. Give me a yell if you find the bug. Got it, pal? Yeah, because of course the radio would give off radio waves.
This is just a giant stuffed teddy bear, right? It's the biggest one I've ever seen.
Hey, did you guys find it yet? Listening device, I mean.
No, not yet. But this bear's eye is...
Let's see. Perfectly normal stuffed bear with some really strong radio waves. Sounds like you found the device to me, pal. Let's dig this big fella's eye out and see what we got.
No, you can't. Such a violent act. No.
It's a miniature camera. Looks like there's more. There's a transmitter and a timer. What mitter? Transmitter, pal.
Oh, is this more of that high-tech stuff?
I want you to know, finding that camera in the bear's eye took me an eternity on my original playthrough. So this tiny thing is a camera. Yep, it's Pinhole CCD camera, pal. It's a small, high-grade video camera, used mostly in security systems. So it's a video camera. Runs on a battery, which comes with it in a set. But there's no videotape in this camera. This is only the camera part here, pal. Tape recorder with the tape inside. It is somewhere else.
Somewhere else?
But it just changed into radio waves and it's sent to that recorder.
So, it's sort of like a TV broadcast, isn't it?
Hey, you know, you're right. So, what is a transmitter? It's a device that sends the footage the camera took to a specific destination. It's like a video version of a listening device, pal. Looks like it's attached to a small clock-like thing. Oh, that's a timer, pal. You can set it to turn the camera on and record at a certain time with it.
You can set it for a certain time.
Yep, let's see. Looks like it was set to start at 8 p.m. and go for an hour. 8 p.m.? That was the time the awards ceremony ended. There's no date set, so it's been recording every night, I guess.
Mr. Detective, how long has this bear been here?
I'm pretty sure it's been here since the night of the murder.
Then maybe...
Maybe this camera caught the murder on tape. What? And if you think about the angle the bear's at, it's bound to have had a clear shot of the whole crime, pal.
So, there was a camera in this bear's eye.
And it was disguised as a present. I'm sure it was here on the night of the murder, pal. It's pretty big, so it stands out pretty well in my mind. But who gave Mr. Kurita this present? I, don't know, pal. But this means that someone out there's got a video of what happened here that night.
Isn't there any way we can find out who that person is?
It's impossible, pal. Radio waves can be sent almost anywhere, so there's no real way to find it.
Oh,
Is there really no way to find out? I got it. What? Hey, pal, let me borrow this mini camera for a bit. What are you gonna do? I'm gonna go around and to the electronics shops and see if I can find out who bought this. But that's impossible. I mean, it's already 9 p.m. Leave it to me. Even if I have to search all night, I'll find your man, pal. Oh yeah, baby. It's investigating time. I'm on fire, pal. My fingers are itching to go. Yeah!
He's gone.
Yeah.
But Mr. Scruffy Detective sure is a nice man. He's pushing himself so hard, all for Mystic Maya's sake.
It's a mystery how you always manage to do things in the most inefficient ways, right? Ugh. You'll have to excuse me. I heard your conversation just now.
Edgeworth, what are you doing here?
A rescue team has been created and deployed. I can't say I'm optimistic, but we have to move forward one step at a time. I see. Thanks. Don't thank me yet. We still have to find her. So there was a spy camera hidden inside the stuffed animal, huh? You're one lucky man, right? Do you know the stuffed bear, little girl?
I have no idea.
Of course not. The maker of this bear is a very expensive luxury brand from overseas. It's completely handmade, and only a small number of these are exported here. What? The camera and transmitter that Scatterbrain Detective took with him are dead ends. Things like those can be bought anywhere. However, this bear is different. By tracking how it got into this country, this bear can tell us who the buyer is.
Can you really do that? Mr. Nick, can you really?
Well, I guess so. It's 9 p.m. I think I can still make it in time. I'll be taking this for now. I'm sure you have other things you have to do. See you soon, right? Wait! What? Why are you doing this? I have no interest in explaining myself to someone who cannot comprehend. But besides that, right? Until court reconvenes tomorrow, you should concern yourself with this question. Who was the person that murdered Juan Carita? The real killer. Do you really still think it was Adrian Andrews? To be honest, I don't know anymore. You still have a little time left. Find the truth, right? Everything begins with the truth. Juan Carita's real killer. Miss Andrews' past. The kidnapper whose sole condition is an acquittal for Mr. Ungard. And this card. Shelly D. Killer. Maya, the only way I can save you now is to find all the answers to this case tonight. I don't understand what your real intentions are, Edgeworth. But as you said, all I can do for now is find the truth.
And the worst part is that there's a 3-2 because there's another segment to the investigation.
It's past 9 p.m. already, isn't it? I wonder if Mr. Edgeworth has already found Mystic Maya.
These things take time. I'd say probably not.
The police are professionals, Pearls. They'll find her, so don't you worry. If we can win a not guilty verdict tomorrow, then everything will be okay.
You're right. Wow, it's really getting late, isn't it, Mr. Nick?
Yeah, it's past 9 p.m. already. We still have some things to prepare for tomorrow's trial. There's still the matter of this secret Mr. Kurita held about Mr. Ungard, and Miss Andrews' real intentions. These are two things I must know tonight.
But aren't visiting hours over at the detention center?
I'm sure we'll think of something, Pearls. Don't you worry. Hey, wait.
What is it, whippersnapper? All I know is that nothing has ever come,
Nothing that has ever... All I know is nothing that has ever... No, I keep skipping to the bottom ever good section.
all I know is nothing that has anything to do with you is ever good.
There we go.
Just now, I was handed this strange device for who knows what reason. I was told to use it to search the whole hotel.
That's the bug sweeper, isn't it? One Gumshoe made.
I don't know, and frankly, I don't care. But the request came from Edgypoo, so...
Edgeworth?
And he said,
If you feel angry, direct your anger at that unsophisticated lawyer.
so I'm gonna feel free to direct all my anger towards you.
Ugh. Gee, thanks a bundle, Edgeworth. What a pal you are.
This is absolutely top secret, so you had better keep it to yourselves. I heard that they found a spy camera hidden in one of the presents.
Very interesting.
I'm sure it was, you know? It was to catch poor Juan in the middle of a scandalous meeting.
Scandalous? What's that?
It means, well, you know, that gossip that's been going around my dear Juan.
Oh, you mean that thing about Miss Andrews? But I'm sure she must have had some reason for getting close to Mr. Kurita.
I'll let you in on another secret, youngin'. I know who planted that spy camera. It was that obnoxious, puffy-haired photographer girl. The nerve of some people. Spying on people by herself, as if I wouldn't want to see it for myself, too.
Wow, the alien actually admitted her true intentions for a change.
I don't know what you're thinking exactly, but I bet it's nothing good.
I didn't say anything.
So you want to know about Juan and that manager, right? Actually, as I hear it, there is something of a refreshing pair, those two.
Oh?
I tell you, Juan really welcomed that manager with open arms, I heard.
That manager, who are you talking about?
You don't know? That manager woman Juan had. It's a shame she killed herself, though.
Oh, you're talking about Miss Celeste Impacts. Miss Andrews' mentor, right?
Yes, that's the one. It's Celeste's girl. She's supposed to get married, you know?
Married? You mean to Mr. Kurita?
Really, you youngins today don't know anything, do you? That girl, Celeste, killed herself 3 days after the marriage announcement.
3 days after their marriage announcement? What in the...
Why would Miss Impacts want to kill herself? She's going to get married.
Well, that's because she's thrown away, you see, by Juan.
What?
But they were going to get married, right? They promised each other, right?
They held a grand announcement session, but 3 days later, Juan suddenly canceled their marriage.
Is that true?
It was in the weekly magazines.
But why? Why did he do that?
I was not in the magazines, unfortunately.
See.
That night, after Juan called off the wedding, that manager, Celeste, killed herself.
How terrible.
I wonder what happened between those two.
I don't have anything to say to delinquents like you.
It's climbing up like the old clam she is. We've already read this. On that night, there must have been at least a few hundred people here. Guess the police are done with their questioning and investigating. Looks like things here in the lobby have finally calmed down.
It feels sort of tense in here, doesn't it, Mr. Nick?
Yeah, it does. I wonder if something's happened. You're Mr. Enguarde's lawyer, right? Ah, yes, sir. Well, we finally found just the person we've been looking for. A real decisive witness. A decisive witness? You mean for the Enguarde case? I'm taking the witness's statement right now. Gotta hand it to Mr. Edgeworth. What's Edgeworth up to now?
Who is this witness?
I think you know this person quite well, Mr. Lawyer.
Mr. Nick,
Between the kidnapper's demand and now this, I can't see any way to win here. Oh, yeah. Mr. Edgeworth wanted me to tell you something. He did? Even though visiting hours are long over at the detention center, he wanted me to grant you special permissions. There you go.
what?
Already called them, so they know. Go on, go talk to your heart's content. Thank you very much.
This is such good news, Mr. Nick.
Talk your heart to your heart's content. Sounded like the police are pretty sure they have tomorrow's trial in the bag. Sure, they must have transferred Miss Andrews here by now. So that means both Mr. Enguarde and Miss Andrews are in this detention center. Now then, whose story do I want to hear? Adrian Andrews first.
Oh, it's you.
Sorry to be visiting at such a late hour. But there are a few questions I absolutely have to ask you tonight.
Me? I thought your client was Matt.
Sure, Miss Andrews knows something. She can't be clueless about the secret Mr. Kurita had on Mr. Enguarde. I'd like to ask you about Matt Enguarde, if you don't mind.
Mr. Wright, you still don't know, do you? The real him, I mean.
You seem to bear a lot of resentment towards Mr. Enguarde. If that's the case, then why did you become his manager? And why would you become intimate with his rival?
That has nothing to do with this case. Nothing.
About Miss Celeste Impacts.
I'd finally put her death behind me. And now, thanks to you, it's all coming back up to the surface.
I'm sorry.
Yes, I was shocked by her suicide. And it's true that when I heard the rumor that Juan was the one who had hidden her suicide note, I began to draw close to him. I wanted to get her suicide note back, and to burn it.
You wanted to burn it? But why?
I didn't want it to spread like another piece of gossip. But I never held any murderous intent towards Juan. I'd never do something so stupid.
Suicide note, huh? I wonder what it said. Why did you try to frame Mr. Enguarde?
That's simple. Because he's the killer, that's why. Isn't it the duty of every good citizen to inform the police? But there had to be another way.
Police are excellent at doing their job, so that... Incorrect, Phoenix. Extremely loud incorrect buzzer. So they'd figure it out, right?
Yes. They're so good that they couldn't figure out the real truth behind Celeste's death. Miss Andrews.
Well, I know you're not the type of person to do something without a reason. So please, tell me why you did what you did.
Revenge. Huh? Did you say something just now?
One Cyclock. A Cyclock, huh?
Don't you understand yet? You're not my lawyer. To be honest, you're more like my enemy. But...
Sure, I just heard Miss Andrews say, revenge. What piece of evidence do I need to crack this open? can you please tell me why you framed Mr. On Guard for the murder?
I've already told you countless times. It's because I thought Matt was the killer.
No, that's not it. I know you have a personal reason to dislike Mr. On Guard. Miss Andrews, you may think I didn't hear it, but I know you said something earlier. You said revenge.
So you're saying I was taking my revenge out on Matt, and that's why. What an absurd idea. I don't have anything I want to take revenge for.
Miss Andrews, a woman who lives by being dependent on other people. There's something or someone in her past that would make her take revenge. To link it to Matt? We don't have anything that can link that to Matt.
It doesn't look like Mr. Scruffy Detective is here.
Well, he's out there with that camera asking around at all the electronics stores.
Then I'll make some salad for him for dinner.
It's like Pearls really appreciates what Gumshoe's doing for us.
Mr. Nick,
Yes?
where's the lettuce?
I don't think I've ever bought lettuce before.
I guess I have to give up on making a salad then.
So the lack of lettuce is kind of a problem.
Oh, I'll water it.
It's okay. Gumshoe already gave it more than plenty earlier.
The watering can. Where are you, Mr. Watering Can?
Pearls gets too wound up if she's not doing something to distract herself. Hope Charlie can withstand a typhoon, Pearls. Looks like no one's around.
What happened to that person with the stuffed teddy face?
Oh, she must mean that butler with the stitches in his face.
Choo. Oh, there you are. I guess you're still awake, huh, Shoo? Come on, let's play.
Wonder if that butler, Mr. Doe, is already asleep or not. What am I supposed to be doing? So the real person who killed Mr. Kurita was...
That assassin, Mr. Shelley DeKiller, right?
And the card Miss Andrews found at the crime scene seems to be proof of that. And if that's the case, then a new question comes to mind. Who was the one that hired DeKiller to begin with? Who is his client?
You mean, who asked for the murder?
That person didn't want to dirty their own hands in blood. But whoever this client is, they're still a killer.
Who could have hired the assassin? Do you think it was Miss Andrews?
I wonder. But if she was the client, then why go through the effort to stab the knife into the corpse herself?
But if Miss Andrews wasn't the client, then... No, it can't be.
At Ungard himself?
If Mr. Ungard really did hire the assassin...
And he's not innocent at all. Far from it. He'd be guilty of the crime.
But can't Mr. Ungard, it can't be Mr. Ungard, right? I mean, when we first talked to him...
Mr. Ungard, I'd like to ask you one more question. Did you kill Mr. Juan Kurita?
Alright, just so we're clear, dude. I didn't kill anyone, and that includes one Kurita, okay?
Didn't see any Psyche locks that time. Psych lock, shit. Actually, that reminds me.
Did you remember something, Mr. Nick?
Yeah, something with something Miss Andrews said at the trial today. She said something interesting.
So what's this interesting thing?
Oh, that's right. You didn't hear it, did you, Pearls?
Juan had bet everything on the Jammin' Ninja this year. And if he lost the Grand Prix, he was going to make sure that Matt was going down with him. That's what he thought anyway. It looked like somehow Juan had in his hands a secret so powerful that it would destroy Matt's acting career had it been revealed. Mr. Enguard's secret? What is it, this secret?
I don't know yet. But for now, let's think about this, let's think about it this way. Mr. Kurita was going to reveal this secret. That means Mr. Enguard had plenty of motive to have Mr. Kurita silenced. Which means we have to meet with Mr. Enguard. There's no way around it now. Now then, whose story do I want to hear? On guard. Dude, it's Mr. Wright. Hope you can get me off the hook tomorrow. I'm counting on you. I hope so too. Edgeworth just dropped a bombshell on me by saying that Juan Kurita was killed by an assassin. That assassin's client is this man. On guard. What's wrong? Mr. Enguard, there's something I must know with 100% certainty. You seem kind of different. Totally not like your usual lawyer dude self. About the press conference. You mean the one where Juan was gonna dress up as the Nickel Samurai? Yeah, I heard a little more about it from Miss Andrews.
It looked like somehow Juan had in his hands a secret so powerful that it would destroy Matt's acting career had it been revealed.
Could you please fill me in on what this secret is, please? I knew this was coming.
Mr. Nick, don't tell me.
Cyclops. It's a secret, right? I don't have any idea what it is. Do you, dude? Oh, whoops. Five Cyclops. Oh. Hello? This is Phoenix Wright. Oh, hey, Mr. Lawyer, dude. Sorry, but you know, dude, I didn't really care at all what Juan was up to, okay? It's like that. So I have no choice but to remove those Cyclops. Did you know about Mr. Kurita and Miss Andrews' relationship? Well, it's all over the tabloids, dude. Yeah, but I don't know any of the details. That's what you mean. Look, how many times do I have to tell you? I don't care what Juan did with his life. Miss Andrews. She had a purpose in mind when she started seeing Mr. Kurita. Her mentor was Mr. Kurita's manager, and Miss Andrews was going to get Miss Celeste Impax's suicide note from him. Celeste? Does that jog any memories? Dude, I suddenly just got, like, totally hungry. You have for pizza? My treat.
Mr. Nick, what's a pizza? Is it like a kind of pea? Like green peas?
Let's go eat one later, okay? I got cut off by the pizza dude at the shop. That's too bad. Well, how about we get our minds off this topic and
talk about something else, okay?
Mr. On Guard. You connected to Miss Impax's suicide in some way? Oh, Mr. Wright, please, you have to help me. I don't know who this is. Uh-oh. Oh, it's Mr. Powers. Mr. Powers?
What happened? Why are you here?
You see, got roped into this somehow.
What?
And now I'm going to testify at tomorrow's trial. So the decisive witness is Mr. Powers? I was talking with a detective until a little while ago, and I was on my way home. And all of a sudden, you there, you're under arrest. I was brought back here. Oh. It said my face and whole self in general looked suspicious or something. Well, I guess I can see how they thought you'd look suspicious. I'm just a normal guy on an exercise show for kids. Is that a crime? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end stream for tonight. So, thank you all so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed. Give me just a sec. I guess exclamation point Discord if you want to join the Discord. Exclamation point socials if you want to check out my Twitter or my YouTube. Otherwise, give me just a sec to rearrange my stuff and we will be raiding someone. Sorry if you can hear my mic adjustments. Okay. What else? Is there anything else? I don't know. Okay. Sachi gave me a raid recommendation earlier. And so... thank you all so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed. I should be streaming more of this tomorrow. Granted, my throat is not dying on me. Which, I mean, considering everything, it might be. We might have to do a chill stream tomorrow to calm my throat down a bit. But, anyway. I guess... I hope to see you tomorrow for whatever I'm doing. Most likely it will be more of this. I'll make sure to rest my voice. But, yeah, so, I hope to see you tomorrow. I guess, have a good one, and take care.